in any shape or form. So it's really about him, putting it out there and us picking it up. And that's already happening very much so. People are very inspired, expressing very similarly to what you just expressed. And look at the results. We're at 16 plus million wallets, as far as I know. So it's already happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy he's here. It's refreshing for sure. Uh, Consistent, his approach is consistent. His message, his temperament, it's all very consistent.
Exactly.
I
Exactly. I
love
was
it.
speaking of that.
I love it.
Yeah, I've been speaking about that actually in the similar vein that you are, because to me it's very significant and it's very tangible, clear to me that it's different and it's the beginning of something more in the lines of a phenomenon, than just another crypto.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Jack has a lot to do with that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. He just an all around good guy. And
And it's
great
also,
fun person.
and I think it's more than just that. It's a question of timing, and it's a question of people being ready for that. And it's everything is converging. That's what I'm noticing. There's this like kind of convergence and this buzz, and yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, what I've witnessed is I've witnessed a the nature of of people in a storm. Because life gives you storms and it gives you great good weather and all that stuff. And right now, for some people, they're in a storm and they're losing, and the storm's winning and the challenge is defeating them. And then you got a guy like Jack that comes in the middle of a what appears to be a pretty rowdy situation in crypto. And he comes in with peace and an olive branch and a solution to help you, like he said in his like a post he did earlier. He's trying to unite people, and bring people together, one common goal, one common idea. So anyway, I'm just excited about it. It's really cool. I'm glad I was here at the right time, and um,
Yeah,
I could have
I
met.
hope you keep with it. I think that's the strategy, the better strategy. Like people are all trying to evaluate what's the best. I definitely think that the best strategy is going to be consistency and persistence, uh, and not seeing it as a small project and not getting discouraged at all because if think people start getting distracted by other things because it's going to happen and it's going to be like many waves of different stages and levels of the project. And yeah, and for my own self, more than excited. Yeah, excited. I mean, sure. Um, there's some exciting, but it's like more for myself to put things in gear and to just go with it, right? It's like put things into action and without too much expectations or anything, but just recognizing what's here and now. Because life is very much like that when you want to you know to to with things that lead somewhere and lead to success. It's all about just playing the game when the game is here, right? So I'm seeing it like that, and putting your 100% when it's time to, you know, uh, without expectation, but with all your engagement, and so that's what I'm hoping how people apprehend it, as opposed to to just FOMO and excitement over a new coin, but to engage with it, to start developing and uh, communicating and all that stuff. Springing into action, because yeah, that's what's going to really differentiate it as a um, as a market mover, market changer, yeah, market maker. We're going to create something that didn't exist before, that needs to be built, that needs to be created. And it's all these one things at a time, just adding up together. And obviously there'll be those that will just uh wait to see and see it as a speculation, but it's something to engage with. It's very different thinking because of how it's built and how it's a community project. It's kind of like Bitcoin. You had to engage with it if you wanted to be part of it. In the beginnings, you had to get a miner, you had to set it up, you had to learn about it, you had to talk with other people. It was not just one click of a mouse, you know and that's how Bitcoin came to be. Many cryptos, it's just a click of a mouse, right? Like, it's a speculation, but this is different. It's more like the Bitcoin. You have to start building it, and there's something to build, an infrastructure and a new dimension that wasn't there before. And I think it's just going to get more and more visible, as time goes by, and people catch on to the fact that that's actually what's happening. It's something different and new. People will progressively see that it's not something to sell as more as something to hold on to. Yeah, and to elaborate and extrapolate.
Hey, I'm headed to a project. So anyway, I'll jump back in later. I got to jump in and check on my team real quick and make sure everyone's got what they need. And then when I get back in my truck and start driving again later, I'll pop back in. Have a good one.
You too. People have been conditioned, for a long time, and still and always, to in being told how things are and how things are going to be, and what is the thing to do, but not so much in saying or partaking in that decision, that part of the equation. And hopefully that's what I'm seeing, is that Zen will open that possibility for people to decide and take part in the decision of what it's going to be and how it's going to happen. crypto, money, decision making throughout throughout the whole world.
I appreciate that compliment. You said make things happen. Definitely. I already understand what the whole point of DeFi is. I make the use case for Zen. Things go from there. Versus, can I speak to your manager?
Yeah, or can I get a loan so that I can
Yeah.
do some?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Just go mint your own coins and you start doing your project. And if it's of interest,
Oh,
people will use it.
wow.
And there'll be plenty of Zen to go around and for people to use it with and come see whatever you're doing and for you to build on and because it's all about the people. Whatever they say or whatever anyone says, the money, the devices, it's always about the people. But they try to make it about the devices and about the money. And then people come to believe that it's all about the money. So that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the plague of of money and banking systems and central banking and how it progresses slowly to get to that point. And when things get so far, it's time for them to they come to an end, and that's always been the case. Whatever it is, and I think now's that now is about just about the time, and it's a convergence and a phenomenon. The collapse of systems and old ways and the birthing of new ones.
And what's ironic about all of this is the mechanisms that they use to press people are exactly what you were talking about, is what I was dealing with, and that's why I'm in crypto. Stuff like credit report, Indeed.com, my cell phone, all the old systems. They were basically gasping their last breath to get me into that trap.
Yeah, I mean it's their game, it's their rules, and they protect it. They build it, they they build it to a point where they would want it to be invulnerable and absolutely permanent and untouchable and unchangeable, and to guarantee, the full monopoly and control.
And the funny thing about that, though, is that they have to deal with internet trolls, and we're the all-in kind of nothing kind of guys. So I mean, if they could take me out, they would, but they can't because they don't know where I'm at. Basically, let's say, you're doing something revolutionary and you're even slightly worried about that type of stuff. Just make sure that your car and the DMV don't line up to where you live. That's pretty much how it's done.
Yeah, I'm not worried about anyone specific or anything specific, but what
Well,
is clear, as
there
a more insidious problem, and insidious is usually the bigger problem, because it's not so visible, it's not so detectable, but it's the whole modus operandi, okay, the MO that people become that normalizes itself, and people then they don't know what the heck really they're doing. They just do it. They
Yeah.
follow it, not even questioning it anymore.
Yep. Also, the nice thing about this is there is no new crop of those people anymore. It basically, there's one generation of them going away as we speak, as they get older, because they're old and bitter, they're narcissists, and then they have the versions of them that are millennials, and they aren't anything. And I don't think there's a Zoomer squad, so we're defeating that organization and that entity in its entirety. It's just going to have a few grasping gasps.
The important thing when something gets to its ending and it's collapsing, you know, just from old age, dysfunctionality, you know, no longer having much to offer in terms of potentiality and growth, is that the important thing is that you have something to do the transition with, to, you know, a new
That's us.
trend. Exactly. That's the convergence here. If you don't have that transitioning, it's problematic. Then it's all it is suffering and confusion and despair and difficulty. But if you have a something that you can, a new beginning and something to transition to, then it's not about killing anything or destroying. It's just to allow the transition to occur.
Exactly. Hmm. I actually had, when I was young and I was explaining this to people, I was always inundated with, are you going to do something violent? Now, the thing is they were always inundating me with that because, like I said, I'm the dark empath. I stand on the realm of the problem. Of course, they want to make me out as a villain. And sometimes that worked, but I was always able to ignore it. And as human consciousness um, becomes more aware of what narcissists and empath and dark empath and the differences between that, we become more available to the public, which is why decentralization and DeFi is huge, because the previous systems, I would not be allowed to make projects and work with like a team or something. But since I am in the DeFi space and I'm a talented human being, I'm able to expand. The old system was holding me back.
Yeah, it's kind of fitting because, you know, villains and narcissists and you know, tyrants and, you know, bad guys in general, and wars and all those kind of things, they really just come ultimately from having not better options. And that's what happens when people feel trapped, they don't have any
But they have
better option. That's kind of what happens.
they have yeah, they had a system designed to filter guys out like me. We seem like we'd be beyond their team, but they secretly deep down inside know if I saw they were doing anything bad, I would go right at them. And the way the system had worked would just filter out guys like me. They would see me as a competition instead of a teammate. But as I've entered the DeFi space, I have plenty of teammates now. We're like the misfits. And it's well, it's fortunate for us because what's great about this is people like what we do, we're honestly more talented more often than not than the people who are accepted by the status quo. I was confined to my devices, and I knew that I needed a talent that was unable to be controlled, which is digital art. And I knew as I got older that coders, devs, and developers would need digital artists. And I grew up with some coders, and as they got older, they probably realized that it was a bad idea to pass up on me, and it is. But it's different in the DeFi space. What they were trying to do is they were trying to cater to the traditional society of like, so I'm a new coder, I'm out of college, I can't associate with Joe because he's a little disassociated.
I hope DeFi gives you a lot of options and
It already
you know,
has.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to replace Facebook now. I'm ruthless.
Well, yeah. What is there on Facebook that you can translate into actual free choice of your
Exactly,
right? Make a
and make it
living.
better to use. Make a better Facebook.
Yeah, but also,
I
you can make it into a business and a living and a your own choosing, whereas Facebook, it's kind of limited what you can do with that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. There's only one black pill to my reality that I have to accept. The App Store basically approves and disapproves people. Like, for example, if I wanted to pick up Kanye West, there goes the App Store.
Right, but that's not DeFi. That's centralized. Gas has been quite expensive today. I wonder what it. I mean, maybe it was just because it was midday, but it was like 100 gwei on ETH.
Is what's really funny is all those bad things as people did, they ended up giving me money because they were trying to give me jobs. All that's invested in crypto. So technically, not only did they harass me, but they made me a rich man. That's why I said I was probably one of the greatest dark empaths of all time because I became rich because of my haters. It's almost like I harnessed evil people into my own resource. And it was done through art. So, like Pablo Picasso and Leonardo da Vinci, they experienced a lot of persecution because they were artists. I just knew that's what was going to happen. So I monetized that persecution.
Interesting. Kind of.
Troll as fuck.
Wonder if somebody is going to try to persecute Zen at some point, if it's so successful.
Sure, but I don't think it'll be possible. You have a foundation that's undefeatable. Honestly, the persecutors of that type of stuff are fading. It's just the nature of narcology. There'll be a small zoomer rise up, but hopefully we'll be dominant.
Well, it would become difficult to persecute if it did become one of the bigger markets.
Yep. I'm dealing with that issue in proof of memes right now where it's like FUD after FUD after FUD after FUD. And one of the promoters, Roger, he jumps out because he just felt like he didn't, not Roger, but Josh. Josh drops out just because he thinks you can't trust Roger, which is whatever. But I'm a different person, so I still trust Roger. Roger has been in some notorious situations with crypto projects. I just think that what a lot of people keep forgetting is that Roger's like 23. So if you put yourself in his shoes, let's say he has 20 grand wrapped up in a project and he knows all the rats are about to leave the ship, can you really blame him for pulling the liquidity? Yes, you can. But he has a future he has to protect. And now I'm currently benefiting from that future and proof of meme.
You know, it's like I'm thinking, if Zen is to be, uh, on multiple chains and be involved in so many different kinds of projects, DeFi projects, and is just going to be a, a, a currency ultimately, reach to that state of medium of exchange and currency for whoever wants to make use of. I wonder if there would be ever a kind of I don't know, a kind of not, I don't know, organization or just a facet of it, because there could be so many facets to it, but a facet that actually works at protecting people and spotting, any malicious uh, contracts or projects, something which is not so much present in the crypto as like, you know, as a fragmented, very competitive space. So people they come across these really bad projects, and who's there really to warn or
I got
investigate?
this. I got this. So what we need is the ability to store our MetaMasks within a NFT, and that NFT is just looks like a PNG on our computer, so nobody will know, and it's like a password. But it also works as an escargot, meaning that when something is sent, no matter what, it goes through a escargot, and the escargot is just another PNG, so they won't know. If someone were to steal, it would just go to the escargot first, and then we would wake up and it would be in that other PNG, and then we would know. And then maybe there would be a way to report the issue.
It's, well, that would be a technology, right? So that anyone could develop a technology. But I was thinking more in the lines of, I mean, this is just off the top of my head, but I was just thinking, if the ecosystem becomes big enough and there's all these different chains and projects making use of the economy of Zen and the user base, I was thinking of the lines of, how antiviruses companies like McAfee and Norton, came to be in the beginning of the internet. Like, if someone were really qualified and smart about it, I mean, I could imagine how people within a large ecosystem, like if it were Zen, could actually purchase through Zen, um, a kind of how you know how do you say in English?
Well, maybe we make an app
A
that,
service, a service
yeah,
of, like, as an antivirus was a service and you're paying for it. You have the benefits of it because you're paying for it. Well, it's doing all the work of finding all the viruses and scanning whatever you're getting involved with. A team could get on analyzing new contracts, looking into them, vetting them, listing and informing, and people could actually, purchase that service for a modest amount, but go around the whole of the space and have that benefit, sort of Zen shield, so to speak.
I could see something like an app that people hive mind behavior, find suspicious stuff, report it back to the app, and essentially the devs are able to basically put notifications through the app to say, hey, this is scam, and we will just like trust that.
Yeah. Well, like viruses, I mean, antiviruses they're not bulletproof, and there's always new stuff coming out, and they have to keep to date, and you need a good team that's working on that. But like, how much would the common user, the user of DeFi and finances, be willing to pay to have that extra protection? I'm guessing they would be willing to pay something.
Yeah, definitely. But a warning system would be good for all of crypto too. So maybe the warning aspect is free, and then uh, the paid for segment is kind of like analyzing contracts.
Right. Yeah, no, no, for sure. It's just it seems that in the space so far, it's been so much the Wild West, and it's been so fragmented, and projects are competing with each other. I did not see that. I may have missed it. I did not see that kind of application. Of,
Yes, because like today earlier when me and you were talking about the brand scope of those anxieties that I was feeling from not fully understanding, that's the emotion that everybody's kind of going through, but it's through their limited perspective, and they need guys like us to explain the situation. So we should be able to need some type of application that essentially educates, flags, and submits contracts to be analyzed, and then there needs to be a paid for part of it.
yeah, it's kind of like, it's how to manage DeFi, decentralization, but in an as efficient way as centralized systems can succeed, because there's teams and there's organizations. Well, that's efficient, but you have to find the solutions to have it in DeFi, so everything is not so fragmented and chaotic and sometimes contradictory.
That's where things get funny on the DeFi space. People would be like, so you're making a DeFi website? I'll go, yes, we are DeFi, but we have a centralized website. It's DeFi. But yeah, definitely should get on that, Honey Deals. I think you would make a great app for that. As far as being informative and able to educate them about MetaMask wallets, and then maybe there needs to be a group of devs that figure it out from there that you might be able to communicate that to. So I think that's a great idea. I think you're onto something.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a big outfit. That's a big deal. Um, you know, but it does seem to make sense that that would be an option for whoever's qualified to do that, and you know manage that.
Well, it'd be easy for them. We just got to figure out who those people are and suggest the idea appropriately.
Yeah, but it will come up. I'm looking lately in these first 10, 10, 12 days that the trying to extrapolate on starting from the very beginning, and then you can look at the code, how Zen is built, the whole impetus, the user adoption, how quick it's going, where it's going, and then you start seeing what is possible, how this could end up going. And
Well,
you know,
imagine an app that you would copy and paste code into it, and then it would translate it into plain English, and people would be able to trust that to some degree.
no, that's an interesting concept for like Solidity, because there is somewhat of that. Uh, in a way, you can translate to closer to English.
Exactly. Just like earlier when I said I was showing you my input data, I saw that there was a way to translate that into clearer English, but like that, because when we're looking for skeptical things, we're going to be looking for skeptical code, and making an app that copy paste that and talking to people quickly and identifying problems quickly as a team on an application would be very good. I currently am in the Revoke Discord, revoke.cache, because I just feel like that's the closest what you were talking about, and I just did that just today. So
Okay, good.
I'm going to be chatting those guys up, of course. And you know what? Like what you said, getting and finding those people. Yeah, I'm already a little bit on a lead. Maybe you might want to join the revoke.cache Discord just to see if you can snipe somebody.
I'm more like well, I try not to disperse too much and focus on one thing at a time.
I'll
So
handle that then. I'll
yeah.
see who's chatting up and very knowledgeable about it, and I'll suggest the Zen is looking for people like you. Because I dare wouldn't want us to screw this up. This is huge, like the whole security aspect and learning and keeping everybody safe. It's good for all our projects. For example, in the revoke, there is a comment that says, I was a part of the Ape Yacht Club server, got scammed for revealing their NFTs, and got robbed their assets. So what he's saying is he revealed their exploit and they took his asset.
Right. So, for example, that information that was posted somewhere, okay, can be gathered and used to investigate and gather information. The problem is that no centralized entity, okay, is going to do that now because they have no incentive. There's no incentive for centralized, they're not in crypto or so there's not the incentive. Well, here I do see an incentive. It just needs to be in a more in the space and across enough users that enough users could make it worthwhile. You don't establish that for like 1,000 users. You do it for 10 million users though, and be within the very space that it's deserving, that it's serving. Uh, so it would make sense that a DeFi project within a certain community or space or even a chain, it could happen on a chain, for example, like Ethereum could do that for Ethereum users, and use all that information, gather that information, analyze that information, and relay any scams, malicious behaviors, information that helps people understand what's going to happen or what they're getting into. That could be a huge business.
Absolutely. And I think this revoke dot cash people right now, they don't necessarily have a way of making lots and lots of money other than their service. And I think Zen would be the perfect opportunity that I will slowly present to them by becoming somewhat of a regular in this chat, which is my intentions. Another one was, if anyone is in the Sophia Discord, they are currently having wallets drained, drainer link in their announcements. Ooh. Somebody said I got drained in Sophia's Discord. So they're clearly on top of it. Fortunately for us, these report exploits don't seem to be having a lot of report exploits, but these guys clearly get it. This happened in 2022, so this is all this year. So if you avoided those, clearly you're fine. But I am now on the current cusp of people complaining about becoming compromised. Hello, Zenzu.
Hello.
Hey Zenzu, how's
Hey,
it
how you
going?
doing, guys?
Good. Yeah, just talking about stuff. We were actually just talking. Just an idea came up, quite interesting. Just thinking of how it could be possible in the eventual, as one possibility amongst so many, of there being a a company or something, a team in, let's say, a community like Zen, where there's a lot of adopters and a lot of users, and which is across all the chains, to kind of do something analogous to what McAfee did with antiviruses in the beginning of the internet, and protecting people from malicious contracts, malicious all things, malicious, basically, in the DeFi space, namely and specifically, well, the whole DeFi space, but that wherever Zen is going around and being used in the different developments and dApps, and that they could actually, make a business out of it. Like, people could pay a certain amount of Zen as you would pay dollars to have a, McAfee or Norton on your computer. And you would get access to all the more current information and analysis and information gathering about all the new dApps and contracts out there.
And I had a technological idea that is a little bit more complicated, but maybe there would be a possibility of making an escargot service for people's wallets. So let's say you accidentally get into a malicious contract and they send your funds there, you'll just wake up to have it in your escargot wallet instead of their wallet, and then you'd be able to report the issue.
Yeah, it's just extrapolating on the possibilities that present themselves when there's a community and that cohesive that user base and how to bring the advantages of centralization, because there are some advantages in centralizations, right? Teams and companies that focus and work on things, and to bring it in the DeFi space in that same with those same strengths and cohesion, but in an absolutely DeFi fashion. Because as of now in the crypto space, it's been quite fragmented and competitive, and there's not this 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 cohesion. It may exist, but I'm just seeing how the having a strong user base and community will help in bringing those kind of modes of operation that we see in the centralized systems, that having a huge current common currency allows, uh, and not everything being fragmented and in a state of perpetual you know somewhat somewhat I don't know.
And my other security idea was that maybe we should find a way to hide wallets in some type of NFT situation, so therefore they cannot even identify where to steal from.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I didn't really understand. By the way, War Dog, good to see you. Long time.
Yes.
Good to see you here. I didn't really understand what the main concept was with
Well,
the
okay,
escargot.
I'll put it real simply. Okay, so imagine you're in the DeFi space, okay, as of now, right? It's the wild, wild west, right? And you're going around and you're getting involved in dApps, projects, smart contracts, okay? You have no protection, you have no shield, so to speak, as you would on Windows, Microsoft, and you download Norton or McAfee or whatever, and you have a something that protects you of virus and malicious behaviors. I have not seen that in the crypto space per se. Basically, people are quite left on their own to fend and ask questions and hope for the best. So what I was just thinking is that once you have a community and a user base, it is conducive to for teams and business models to form to make use of that community and currency, which has a certain common, denominator, which is the currency, right? It's not so competitive. The currency is not competing with itself. It's only competing with others. So then it can be established things like that. Teams could say, okay, we're going to deserve the Zen currency, the Zen community with this certain service that will, because there could be many dApps and many things happening with Zen in the future across all the chains, and say, well, are you willing to pay, let's say, uh, you know, 5 million Zen or a million Zen, whatever the price be, to to be a beneficiary of that protection or that shield? meaning that team of information gatherers and analysis, which are looking at all the new contracts and any and all malicious behaviors or risks, and informing you of whatever you're getting into, for that you're more protected. Same as you can use Windows without an antivirus, or you can pay $20-$30 a month to feel protected. It's just a it's just a business model, right? But it's not one that I've seen, because in the DeFi space, because it's so fragmented and different chains and different projects competing with each other. I have not seen this kind of service. There's no antivirus for DeFi.
And as far as the escargot thing, all I'm suggesting is, like, let's say you go to approve a transaction on Uniswap, you click approve, and then instead of it getting sent to Uniswap, another program pops up and your coins went into there. And then you just approve that, and then it goes on to where it was supposed to. So let's say you got into some type of DApp, and then tomorrow you wake up and you notice your tokens are gone, but instead of them being in the hacker's wallet, they're in your escargot, and then you have to approve that transaction. But you can deny that, of course, because you want your coins.
It's like a service that could be developed by some team, somebody, not me, because I don't have the competence for that, but some people do. And they could seriously offer a service where Zen users, Zen navigators of the full ecosystem could feel safer than, say, in another space where they might not, and offer and have access to this Zen service or Zen Shield or Zen scanner or whatever it is, where they can pay if they choose to get that added sense of security. Does it make sense? Stuff like that? Do you understand the idea, the premise?
Right. Well, so every time you create some sort of environment, if you're gonna make it safe, it would have to be you'd have to guarantee that safety. So if you have like sort of a middle step in between each transaction, I mean, it's like if you deploy capital a in a pool or another contract, I mean, the capital can't be there at the same time as they are somewhere else. So
Yes. Yes.
if you're gonna provide like that, if things like as soon as you start centralizing something, if it can be exploited, it's gonna be exploited. It would have to be like, it's hard to guarantee that safety.
Oh, it's not about guaranteeing. It's more about okay, it's just simply, there's people that are very informed because they are all over the place asking questions and talking to a lot of people, and they're trying to protect themselves. They want to know. Some people can read code, they'll look at the contract, etc. But this is the average user does not necessarily have this, and even those, you'd rather an expert to look at the code, right? Like you or me. And I'm just talking about a service. It's like on Windows, you go to a website, you about to download a file. So you're about to click on a DApp and maybe participate in their contract, but you have no idea really of what it is, how safe it is, what's the reputation, whatever. So I'm just
Right.
talking about
Yeah,
a
yeah.
service
There could be. Sorry. Yeah.
that does all that work for you. They have a bunch of information. They're gathering information from forums and chats. And as soon as a DApp comes out, already within the first 24 hours, like they have gathered a whole bunch of information about any potential risks in the code or experiences from users. And they gather all that up. And if you pay them a certain amount of Zen on a monthly basis, for example, you have instant access to all that very updated current information about all the new things coming up and the old, and warnings, same as an antivirus. You see, an antivirus doesn't stop you from necessarily using clicking the file, or it can, but it's also more to warn you and tell you that there's a risk and what that risk is about and at what level it is, right? Because you can always say, no, I'm going to click it anyway. So it's more like that. It's very straightforward. It's just that it's not been the kind of mood or way of the crypto space. You know, we talk about the crypto space as the wild west, right? No police, no nothing, no 1-800 number, nobody there to help you except maybe your contacts. So it's just bringing certain elements into the DeFi space that are can be that appear in centralized and fiat currency, where there's a huge market and where they can establish modes of payment, like they accept your Visa card or whatever. So as the economy of Zen and the ecosystem of Zen expands, it creates an opportunity for serious people, teams like that, right, to establish these kinds of sophisticated services.
But besides the escargot situation, also making things impossible to interact with is another thing that would be interesting. Like, for example, imagine just pressing a button on your computer and suddenly your wallet, there's no in or going out. So you could press that button knowing that you're not going to be able to lose anything as you go to sleep. Just peace of mind.
Yeah, it would be a very much an asset I could see for the users of a certain ecosystem, and it could actually be an edge and make it that people prefer to stay within that ecosystem because of that very, you know, added option that they have. But those things can appear in markets if the market is too small, if there's not some cohesion, there's not enough of a user base. And so these are, I'm just extrapolating as I'm seeing the success and the direction of Zen, and all which what can arise from it, which is not possible when you have these little projects, you know, little tokens, or everything is so fragmented and there's no consensus yet. Like, what's the token, what's the chain, what's the this, what's the that? If Zen becomes big enough, it couldn't be one of those things that becomes a clear market, and a clear market of development and investment to establish these kinds of services like a McAfee or Norton or something like that, where you can be sure that you have the user base and you'll be able to pay everybody involved through just the you know the earnings in Zen of the community. But it's completely
Right.
DeFi. They're not using their credit card. They're paying in Zen.
So what we're coming up with or thinking about right now is how to um, collect information regarding Zen specifically, that we can sort of somehow stand behind. It can be products and services that we ourselves do, or that's made by the community, because we somehow need to like gather everything that is legit, uh, and separate that from everything that just pops up. You know, we already see like a bunch of different stuff popping up that are um, using the momentum and the community we have, and then offering stuff that are not really legit. So somehow we're going to communicate that, um, and so the community can know, okay, these communities, these protocols are checked, audited, and verified. But then you could expand on that by, including some sort of checklist system, where you know, a new user could know that, okay, this community has like verified these marketplaces, these tokens, these protocols, and they could access that information um, in a way so they would feel more secure about different interacting in different ways. We already see now a bunch of different Telegram groups, for instance, popping up, which is kind of um, in a way like it's amazing, it's cool that they're popping up, but it's also dangerous because unless they have some admin um, from here, they could also switch within a second and then, you know, provide scammy stuff, which would be very bad. So
Is something
I sort of, yeah.
is is this something that you've been talking with Jack about? Like, is this very close to the team as of now? Because it's very appropriate, I find. I'm just wondering, this is something that's being discussed or pondered?
Oh yeah, like constantly we're seeing stuff, like different protocols being made and communities popping up. So it's constantly like a topic of discussion. Like, how do we communicate to the community? Like, these stuff are legit and these are not. Um, so it's really like it's a difficult problem because we're growing so fast and things are popping up, and we sort of somehow need. But you could have like a, you, inside Telegram we also have like a reputation system, right? So you could, if someone writes something that you think is good, you can reply to that comment with a plus, and that increases that person's reputation. So it could be sort of like a community thing where you can see, okay, this is legit, and it's like signed by uh, like all of these different community members also agree that this protocol or this group or whatever is a legitimate one. Um, so a person would feel more trust that, yeah, this protocol is audited, but it's also has like a thumbs up from these 400 community members, which have like a reputation inside the community. Um, so,
Okay.
but when
I'm
it came
listening to
to
what
this
you're
like
hearing.
subscription model, that's it's like we talked about, all of these different things sort of
Well,
come
that's
together somehow. So it's very good to like talk about this stuff forever before you, because you can do a million things, but sometimes it's better to talk about it a lot before you like choose a direction.
exactly, and that's exactly my view, and that's why.
Are you
I,
aware of Pulse Police? Pulse Police has a very good
Yeah,
platform where every new project which is coming is reviewed by community, and it's kind of ranked, I think. So I think this would be something very relatable to this what you're talking about. This system.
absolutely. We need a Zen police equivalent for sure.
Yeah.
so what I was talking about was more, more specialized and I would say more like further along the road, where teams could actually do this as a business model. It could be the Zen team themselves that undertake that, but it was just the concept, and I'm seeing how the market will appear. But in relation to what you're saying, which is cool because you're already thinking about this, and I think it's very pertinent. I could very easily see in a both useful and viable as a viable solution right now to do something more on the lines, instead of like Norton antivirus, which is looking at all the new projects all the time, trying to really, really like be at the cutting edge of what's going on. This one could be more so instead of a Zen antivirus, or it would be more like initially a Zen guardian, okay, a kind of Zen guardian community DAO, kind of like what you're expressing. So to be very transparent and clear about it, to say this is a lot of things are going on very quickly, and we want to protect the security, and we're doing our best to keep up with this unexpected, amount of activity and adoption, which is wonderful. And so there's a team of people and this kind of DAO system in a way where they're upvoting projects, looking at projects, and people can refer to this, and it's backed by the Zen team, right? And Jack. And what that would do is, on the one hand, it would obviously help people and help them choose initially. And also it would motivate all the players, the new players, to fall into line in terms of security and all that, to acquire the vetting of that, Zen Guardian community as quickly as possible, because if they don't, it's going to be a disadvantage to them. And that could be like viable in the sense that it's not you're offering a guarantee, it's that like it's not an antivirus that you're purchasing. It's free, it's there, and it's done by Jack and the team, and it's being done through with the community as well, and it's a common effort, and it's people, and if it's expressed with utter transparency that we're doing the best that we can at the speed that we can with the help of the community and the people that are contributing. I mean, it's a great beginning. And if you were just to develop and get better and bigger, it could actually be one of those, pillars of the full, technology of Zen and the team, where they actually have this aspect of security, of added security to a token and its ecosystem. Something that maybe Cardano or other projects would seek to emulate as well for their own communities.
Imagine having a scam simulator. It's like a little virtual machine, and you're put into the program itself, and you get to learn how to not get scammed and what to do through interaction, like a video game.
That might not be a bad idea. Zenzu, how are you doing today? You friend, you are my best friend in crypto today. You and Jack.
How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, what? Yeah. Good to see you, man. Yeah, Word Dog, you know how to design games, right? You've been doing that a bit.
Not code, but I design games to a good degree. I was making such good video games that I was trying to hide my video games, but it didn't work out.
we at some point need to create like a metaverse presence as well to hang out in as avatars.
Yes. I just
I wonder
innately
which platform that would be in.
It's kind of like, to some degree, when you play a video game with your friend, it's always fun to beat up on your friend and your friend to beat up on you, but then there's like a common enemy involved, and that psychological aspect just makes really fun games like really addicting.
Right. So yeah, it's like there's like different there's like one way to go about all of these things is to break them down in its like parts. So if you go to a site like Hexnoobs, is it hexnoobs.com? That's something we create like sort of right away, which is just basically a site where it's projects built by the community. There's like statistics, calculators, recommended wallets, price charts, websites, documentation. We probably should create an equivalent of that pretty soon. And then, as Alika is pointing out, we should probably have some sort of hex police, which could just like, you know, um, like check the code more thoroughly to make sure that things that the community is interacting with is safe and so on. So that could be two different components. Then we've talked about this like sense social, sort of where you could create, communicate with different people in the community and know what they can and what they want to do. So that's another thing. And then we have a metaverse. So at some point, all of this needs to combine, but at the same time, we shouldn't also like invent the wheel, right? So this is the beauty of being like a trans, chain community, where a lot of this cool stuff has been built. So we should really like reach out to the different chains and see like what the best practices are.
For
Yeah.
example,
That's a good
when I
point.
was younger, I had made a game, and I would wake every single night knowing that somebody was going to steal that game, and all my friends were playing the game, and it's called Ducks. It's basically it's like the players run across the screen and somebody snipes them, and it was one of the most popular Halo maps ever developed. And 5 years later, someone's mentioned, "Hey, they made your game," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, dude. I know." That's why I'm a digital artist. Nobody can steal those ideas.
So that's interesting. So if you were to create a digital environment for Zen, how would it look like?
Well, I really want to make my favorite game design idea is I want to do a medieval 3D fighting game where it's kind of like a skill-based aspect. And then I want people to build forts, and I want them to create law of the land. Everybody's law of the land will be different, and people would essentially wake up to play in that world. And when they log off, their character would become an AI. And based off what they do as their player, and then their AI behaves similar to them in the game, and you basically run keeps, and then people take over territories, and it would just be a land grab, but society, and that would be like my antithesis of a video game. Simple project,
Instead of
2D fighting game.
That's pretty cool. But so how would you make it in a way that, so
Oh, the currency
you
would be
know
Zen.
exactly, but you would also,
Gold.
how could we create a game where people could come in and learn about the first principles? So they would learn about a wallet, how that works, in a 3D
Yeah, of
environment,
course.
and then how gas works, and then security. Like that's like a game with only
Absolutely.
that basics. That would be super cool.
Oh,
You could gamify the
of
whole
course.
learning
Of course.
experience.
No, that'd be amazing if that was the intro. Like, when you get in a video game and that's the intro. You get in the game,
Right.
you get through the gamify, then you get to play the video game now that you're crypto safe.
yeah,
Right.
we could have quests like Destiny. It doesn't let you get new abilities and new stuff until you finish the quest. Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Well, what I like is, like, imagine you're like the Lord of the Land, and there's monsters outside of your keep. So the Lord of the Land will post a quest, and then as people log in, they're like, "Oh, I need to complete the quest," and then you get a little bit of Zen for completing the quest, but it was created by your guild master. Guild master's like,
Yeah,
"Let's go
what's a
raid
guild
somebody."
master?
Well, just somebody who owns like a group of people who log on to play together, and then he's basically the king of the land, and then he assigns people quests. So then they're like, I really don't like this castle over here. The quest, somebody go kill that other king. And then he logs on, and the assassin of the team sees that, and he's like, oh, okay. And it's like an order from his friend essentially, and he's getting paid in Zen.
That's amazing. How how like how difficult is it to make a game? Like how long is a rope? Now,
This
if we just
3 years.
wanted to create like yeah, but if we have 1 month.
Oh yeah, 2D fighting game. Yeah, I could do that one too. I really want to make a 2D fighting game. I could make a really fun one for that too.
With the basics, you play the game and you learn about like creating a
Of
wallet
course,
in a
you
gamified
create
experience.
wallet and then you juggle somebody in the corner.
Exactly, and then you learn
I
about
was
gas in the next corner.
Yeah, exactly. I was one of the best Mortal Kombat players of all time, and I have an idea where I think that we should queue up 50 people, and then you fight your friend for a little bit, and then you and your friend become on a team, and then everybody else is on 2 teams. So it's like you back to back. And like for example, if you, there would literally be situations where you're standing next to your friend and you're standing next to your friend, if they push you back together, it would be like a corner, and you would get all the frame data disadvantage, but that's you and your friend. You're both experiencing the same frame data disadvantage. So there's players who are better at defeating that than other players. It'd be kind of weird. And imagine if there was a significance to losing a life, like it burns some Zen. So you would see your friend is about to die, and you're like, no, that's his last Zen. So you have to go save him. It could just be a 2D fighting game in a web browser.
Yeah, but if Sen gets burned, you're actually incentivized that you don't want to save
Yeah.
him because.
Well, it depends on how you feel about your friend.
Exactly.
Yeah. Imagine the
Yeah,
2D fighting game just being a link, like a little like a ULR, because 2D fighting game could be self-contained within a Web3 very easily. It's not hard, and I also could do the art. I could do the art. Honestly, I could make 2 characters, all the frames, and I could also make the background. Not hard.
yeah, like only with the like Lego pieces we have right now, like wallet, gas, safety, and then
Well, that
uh,
too, of course,
going through the
but
process of like claiming zero, like simple. Mm,
yeah,
Wait,
definitely could
what's
help you with
happening with
that.
my connection? Um, so when you create a game, what's the process of creating a game like that? Like you start with of course, you need to start with the concept, and then
Well,
you start with the
the
design of it pretty early, I guess.
well, with a game that's related to a wallet, it would literally just be boxes that people click on, and then pictures would just change, and each picture would have an interaction just like a website. But in a 2D fighting game, it would just be hitboxes. Very simple. But normal coders can do this. Like these are like the easiest things for game dev coders. All you'd have to do is get your general dev game coder involved, and everything would be fine because those are so easy. I would just create images.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
could
because
be
because new people coming in, it's like you can handhold them and like, hey, go to this browser, create a wallet. But if you like
there's
gamify it,
guys. Oh, there's
um,
guys on Fiverr that can do this. It's that easy. They'll
yeah.
have track records. You could literally get someone like, oh, I can code a 2D fighting game. And I'm like, of course you can. And then you bring him in, and then you're just like, well, talk to this artist. And then bam, I get blazed. I go talk to him, and then we talk about 2D fighting games, and we end up being friends, and that's how that works.
Also, like in the next step of like learning about like liquidity and stuff, it's all of that could be visualized pretty easily.
Absolutely.
And
Huh?
and when I think about DeFi and like LPing and stuff, I think like visually. Um,
Well, my talent is to create anything that can be imagined in frame data. And then what I need is people to essentially encapsulate that in code. And if it's communicated to me very simply, I'd spend 8 hours and I'd make it happen. It's not hard. And I've always succeeded, and my imagination is much more vast than most people would even imagine.
The- yeah, we should definitely brainstorm a little bit about that. That would be
Uh-huh.
fun.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The thing is, I'm always able to be communicated with. So basically, I'm just on Telegram. I'm always there. If I'm not here, I'm doing something else smart or not. Meaning I'm always available. I'm also friends with that crypto guy. Me and him clash a little bit, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's like what's important in everything we're doing. Um, Getting back to the basics of it is like it's gonna be probably like a constant reminder for all of us.
Yes. I'm also
Since
cheap.
it's like um like the the focus is just like how to in the best how do we that's what's fun because I've been in like everything gets so complicated super fast and like it's so smart people and it's like okay we
Well,
can do this and this and this. It's more of a like what we can do, and
I'm
here it's
a
more like okay what do we need to do. We need to go to the masses with this, so how do we go back to the basics and just explain these base concepts in ways that will be uh entertaining.
yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Well, what's nice is I'm like a how do you say? I'm like a glue guy. I just I'm like a mini project manager. If I had one other guy and I was told a set of instructions, me and him would just work together and make it happen. And I mean make it happen. I make 2D animations that take like 5 years in 1 year. Most people will never be able to achieve that level of production. You say you want this in a visual form in 8 hours, I'd be like, oh, $40, cool, make it happen. See, it's like but I mean is I'm cheap. What I mean is, 8 hours of artwork to me is just $40. So
yeah, that's amazing. Let's make some stuff happen.
absolutely,
Um,
I'm a producer.
how are you guys doing? Did you listen to the AMA with Popcorn today? Quite exciting. First utility for Zen basically in a DeFi way. They're making a proposal to create a stake pool for Zen Pop. So you're going to be able to deposit your Zen and earn Pop, which is quite amazing because it's these are the things that needs to start happening for Zen. Being able to find utility for it. We recorded the AMA. If you guys want to listen to it.
Yeah. Where is it on YouTube?
Zinsu.
Yeah.
When you have an imagination moment where you need tons of frames and images, that's exactly where we start to make things happen. That's just when you just send me a message and you're like, I need a little art project, and bam, that's when we start making things happen. So I'm like a tool. Think of me as your pencil.
Yeah, cool, man. I definitely will follow up on that. I have a lot of ideas.
Of
Sounds
course.
good. I'm excited.
I am too. I am too.
Cool. Let's see. So it's actually pinned in the main chat. It's the first pin. If you go to that link, yeah, you come to the Twitter where you can just play the recording. It's kind of cool because it's like, well, if you're in DeFi today, you can see what we're creating there and just follow that concept. It's all about like realizing so for other projects, Zen becomes like super interesting, right? Because here we come and we have this economic energy already with now 15 million wallets, and counting fast. And by the way, with this batch minter that's going to come out, it's probably not going to decrease that acceleration. It's pretty cool. But so other projects are going to see us and they see our reach. We got contacted by the Moonbeam guys today, who are like, hey, we noticed your presence when you were launched. We hadn't actually talked to them, but so we're going to talk to them. They have a community, they have a Telegram group as well with like 35,000 people. So they're seeing like we're getting attention from a lot of different places, like everywhere we go. So projects like Popcorn, which I know very well, they are of course interested in our community. So suddenly they can create utility for Popcorn in their protocol, which gives a lot of benefits to holders of Zen. So it's quite interesting how these stuff work. You know, it's basically just realizing what's the mechanics of Zen, what's the values of Zen, and how do other protocols and communities align with that and create bridges, not like technical token bridges, but like community bridges as well.
I got something kind of interesting to say. I'm happy for the future, of course, of what we're doing. And me and Zinzu had already spoke. What's really funny is the very first person somebody had spoken to in this chat happened to be me. And the reason why that happened is because of the way that artists view this world. I'm always looking for friends, and I'm always working to make things for people. So pretty epic.
Yeah, Zenju, just in regards to what you were saying, vis-a-vis all the interest and all the buzz and trying to catch everything. I just want to throw out there that like one aspect of Zen that's very cool at the moment is that people are minting, and for the most part, for the longer term, I mean, still there's some of those short mints and all that, but in general, like that gives an advantage in terms of time and being able to do things properly, one thing at a time, because now people have Zen in their portfolio. They can't even claim it. They're waiting for it. So it's not like, in other words, it's different than a coin that you just bought on Uniswap and like the project is launching and you're trying to make profit right away. It's not really the thing with Zen. It's just the minting now. So we have time to make decisions and establish things because we're in the psyche of people. People are going to be waiting for quite a long time now and hoping, really hoping that things get done well and successfully. So it's an advantage to not have to rush so much or be brash about it. You know, I
Well,
feel anyway.
yeah, like 1000%. It's all derived from the mint formula. You know, it's like you're incentivized to delay your gratification. Number one, so you're incentivized to, as you're pointing out, to create this long window of keeping your attention to the project, and then your reward is basically directly derived from the success of the whole community to create adoption. So everyone's effort to make this community grow is cheered upon by everyone else. So you're actually like, there's so much, it's just like one formula, but there's so much psychology going into this. But it's very interesting, as you say, like we get them with this C rank, and then we have this long window of opportunity where we can provide a lot more value and also get more value from each and every one.
I think it's
So how we do that optimally is a huge question.
I think it's funny
Yes.
that you go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to respond directly to Zen's response. So yeah, the reason I'm saying it, and I think yes, there's a lot of psychology going into it, and many projects. I mean, all projects ultimately should make use of psychology. Some maybe they focus a little bit too much on the tokenomics or the numbers and neglect that part, how important it is for the users, the impact it has when the psychology is correct. And the only reason I say is because, most of the market is going to be running our way, running towards Zen, uh, and wanting to rush as usually things are. But in a sense, it's a great advantage, and it's kind of like holding the bigger side of the stick here, like to be able to say, well, wait, let me think about it. Let me think about it and do things well. We have that. That's a great thing to have. In other instances, you might not have that, and you have to go quick, right? And that is much more challenging to be sure that you're making the right decisions. So I just wanted to point that out. I feel that as one of the great assets of Zen right now, it's this mint period and this whole window of opportunity to do something, um, splendid, basically.
What I was going to say was funny. Unless you want to respond, Zinzu.
Yeah, just quickly, and then I'll let you go ahead. Absolutely, it's really like getting people in that Zen stage where they don't have to like, hey, it's easy to participate, you just do it, and the rest is just no stress. Be in a Zen state and learn about everything else. The thing that's challenging is to meet people's expectations, because it's going to take some time before we like develop proper satisfaction, because people come in from very many different levels, from total noobs to like degens, and that's what's cool. There's something in here for everybody. But it's very hard to but I think already we have quite good resources if people want to find stuff, and we have this voice chat where people can come in anytime and ask questions. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Wardog.
Well, what's funny about all of this is every time I came in the chat to talk to you, it was always like based off some like paranoid thought. And it's the same exact thought that spawned that first idea from Honey Deals. So, and I remember you were talking about like Zen state, and I'm like in the inverse, and I don't even own any Zen because of. But now it's weird because it's great working with another person who's also a creative, but you're literally on the inverted spectrum almost on every aspect. You have like a very I'm on a right hemisphere, you're on the left hemisphere, and I'm on a paranoid spectrum, and you are on a Zen spectrum. So I just think it's really interesting that we're having both perspectives, and we're in the DeFi space. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, it's so fundamental because it's value based. Like I guess even though we're in different state of minds, we still agree on the values of the ethos of the project. I mean, right? You believe in decentralization, self-custody. So we believe in this, and then we can be, apart from that, we can be however different apart from it. And it
the
works.
job will be to get my paranoid aspects reduced to how you feel in a virtual game of like wallet and animation. Plus, I'll learn.
Yeah. It's funny how that meets visually.
Exactly.
I'm in like a Japanese rose garden, and you're in a medieval world.
Oh, the exact. I'm in a desert. I'm in a bunker. I'm like the 5G. Exactly.
If I can
Yeah,
just add a little something to the thought to maybe help concretize what I'm trying to convey here, is to just make an analogy of our situation where, you know, when Apple, when Steve Jobs or Bill Gates, okay, they came out with their products. At that time, there was already products out there, okay, and that was all that people knew about, and they might have had some expectations or of the next iteration. But I think probably Bill Gates and Steve Jobs were taking a stance of more like, well, never mind so much your expectations or your meeting your standards, because we're working on setting new standards, and we're going to exceed your expectations, so we're not too worried about that. It's kind of in that sense that I'm meaning, like, we can, I think we have that somewhat of a leeway, and to do something of a next level in crypto.
Man, I sure would love to rob us of the paranoid state in crypto.
yeah. The whole industry is pretty much on edge on everything. There's not so much Zen. Um, so we have an opportunity
Z-
to break a lot of barriers here and a lot of old narratives.
Zen fixing that would be a beautiful narrative.
Right. Um,
Bringing Zen
100%.
to crypto.
I mean, we, there's you enter crypto, and the first thing you realize is there's like these different communities and tribalisms. But then you realize, this is my conclusion, and I think a lot of people agree and that's why I think a lot of people love this community, because we don't um there we're an inclusive community. We appreciate the diversity of people and different knowledge, and that
Of
we
thought.
realize of thoughts, and it makes us stronger. It's the hive mind that counts here. So just as, like, both practically but also philosophically, and
Yeah.
as a community, like, it's this thing with interoperability. We've been talking about it for years in crypto, and everybody's trying to achieve it technically, but nobody's really trying to break down the community barriers and realize that, like, we're 85% aligned already with the values. We're like fighting
Yes.
over small stuff.
Well, you're right. And you know what makes it even truer is me and Honey Dills had finally established what my personality type is. It's a dark empath. I basically am like Batman. I got kind of put in my place, and then I became Batman. And I can't go get a job from Steve Jobs because he wants Batman to wear a tuxedo to job. Screw that.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
in
can't
the
pay me
Zen
enough to put
metaverse,
a
you can wear
turtleneck
whatever you
on.
want.
You can't pay me enough to put on a turtleneck.
Yeah, but we need you, man. We need your
I'm just
brain
kidding. I'm
and
just kidding.
your
I'll put on the
creativity.
turtleneck. Yeah. I'm actually one of the. I'm a
Should we have a
philosophical
dress
artist.
code in the Zen metaverse?
No. Yeah. But a lot of these artist types aren't actually trying to be innovators. And at one point, I wanted to be a philosopher. I was really just a writer, and people were like, "Hey, you should be an engineer." And I'm like, "But then everyone's going to steal my ideas." So like the dark empath was like, "Aha, I'll just be an artist." And basically, I wasted a bunch of time. But then I started succeeding in art, and now I can help coders.
Yeah, I think that's the journey we all have to take to realize what we're good at and not so good at, right?
Well, the
And
thing
also what
was,
we love to do
I
and
had a lot
not
of
like to.
bullies, and they couldn't take away my art,
Right.
which is great. And now I'm in crypto. So now I can innovate, and I can dream big, and I can envision big things, and I can innovate and find innovators, and it's great. I'm unstoppable in this space.
Yeah, it feels like you realize what you're really good at, and the things you
Absolutely.
don't want to do and are not good at, you find
Here's the
others
best part.
to work
I
together with.
have 13 friends just like me, as good at art as me. They're just not like me. They don't do the mover, shaker, producer, hustle, go find people with technology. They don't do that. I got 13 other guys like me.
Yeah, I mean, Web3 is amazing in that sense, right? Because you find you find everyone in here because it's so fundamental.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're
if you have
just in
creatives
Discord.
that are not in Web3, they're restricting themselves a lot.
Yes. And when my task load becomes too great, which is very unlikely because I'm literally some of the best, I can easily call upon another person who is one of the best, and he will drop everything he will do. His name is Rodrigo, and we refer to him as Rod is God because I sometimes think of him as better, but we're close.
So what are like each chain has their different like metaverse projects going on. So like it's interesting to be able to take your, I mean, that's the concept of metaverse, right? You can take your avatar and then go with that avatar through different
Yes,
metaverses.
and make a ruling
Um,
society.
like whoever is like at the forefront of really creating that like
Yeah,
avatar
that's what I want.
trans, they would love Zen
Yeah,
because
but
we
here's
will
the
have a
thing.
community which goes everywhere.
When we're able to actually get like enough devs, because the kind of thing that I'm imagining is going to probably need like 10 or 20 video game devs, because that shit's going to get bonkers. But the whole idea of having mapped-based territorial control ruled by the law of land, it would be like a metaverse where we would be teleported back into the medieval ages, and now we have a king. And I just think that would be a lot of fun. I think a lot of DeFi people in the space would love it. I think it appeals to everybody. I think that people would be excited about it. And I think it'd be revolutionary because we could just play on more of the aspect of lords and lands be ruled. It's all players are making the rules of the reality. We have people enforcing the law. They're just the guards. The guards are paid in Zen. They train up their AI to be better guards, or maybe they decide that they want to live a life of the shadows and they want to assassinate somebody like a king or something, or they get in like a rogue guild, things like that. But a metaverse like that would be amazing because we would feel like we're a part of a medieval world, decided by the players, defined by the players.
But how do you're talking about 4 years and
Yeah, but 30
like
minutes.
how do
Let's do
you,
what you're still talking about. Those things, like a month. Let's do a game for
yeah,
like a metaverse like Facebook. Yeah, well, we could do something for that, but that's way simpler. I was just giving you like the in game kind of stuff.
right, yeah, it would have to be
So
iterated somehow.
I the initial thoughts I had with Zen to in regards to metaverse is that obviously Zen metaverse and whoever will develop that uh, those aspects it'll be a great success in the
Oh,
shorter term because it's a big endeavor obviously. But I was already thinking that in the short term, just through the user adoption that we've been doing and the way it's going, um, I can easily see that the metaverse projects that are already being worked on and have been worked on now for a couple of years and are going to go into their next bull market. And well, you know how that was. Um, are going to want to most likely tap into the Zen community, the Zen, market, and I could easily see how Zen could be an onboarding token mechanism that metaverses will use to try to get them into it. And I don't know in which way. I mean, there will likely be airdrops to
oh,
Zen users of one kind or another.
this is the
Maybe
difficult part.
maybe
That
mechanisms of using Zen to acquire a coin that belongs to a metaverse. In the shorter term, anyway, I could very easily see how Zen and the metaverse work very well together, and that because it's a big deal to make a metaverse and something nice on blockchain. It's a little bit more challenging technology than like the regular computers. It's blockchain, so you have to work with that. And
uh
they've put a lot of work in it. So we could use the lead that they have and kind of have them come to us, you know, and just work with them, and maybe
So
eventually develop a full-fledged, technology metaverse within the Zen community in the next
the
maybe in the next 4 years.
the complication of to get to the metaverse as fast as possible, we would definitely need like 3D artists. The issue is it's not that I can't do 3D. It's that if I'm doing the 2D animations, some of those 2D animations could be 1 to 2 months of constant grinding for hours and hours and hours. The 3D artist also have to do something similar to that, and one 3D artist won't be enough. You'll need probably like 10 3D artists and one 2D artist. Of course, that would be me. But that's how complicated that metaverse stuff could get. Like, yeah, your 3D artist squad is going to be huge. They are expensive too.
It's doable, definitely, but it's just a question of time. But I just see the user base of Zen as being for the next wave of metaverse, the next iteration of that. Some of them are really going to come out with some stuff in the next bull market, and I think Zen can be ready not to compete with them directly because they've been working on this for a long time, but to participate in that whole bull run and that whole fervor. Zen can definitely be a big part of that.
Well, yes. So then we have to start collecting 3D artists. I actually might know some off the top of my head, so of course they would be involved immediately. But we're going to need more than just the ones I know, for certainly.
And we need to accommodate those partnerships, or you know
Yeah, well, they'll respect me in general, and we would chat them up. Artists love, we get along. Artists get along.
want to sell their token. They want to get people on board of their metaverse, and
Oh yeah.
basically, from what I understand, like the Zen community, because Zen people who adopt Zen, does not mean it's the only token they have. They have other more to their portfolio, and they have jobs, and they have salaries, and they can get into other projects, but they're a consolidated uh you know user base. And if that's the biggest user base, obviously these projects have all the interest to cater to that user base. Again, it could be through airdrops, it could be through coupling coins or whatever. There's so many ways of going about it, but you're tapping into that community and saying, well, we are offering this to you, the community Zen, and we're the first ones to do it. And then someone else says, yeah, well, we're offering it too. If you have the Zen token, look, we made this, and if you can use it for that. And then that doesn't mean people won't buy into their metaverse and pay for other stuff. But it's just that's the advantage that you have when you have a big user base. The market comes to you. You're no longer stuck where you have to make all of the market or go to the market. It starts coming to you. And the more that happens, well, the more user base you acquire, and so on and so forth.
That's actually like a huge luxury, so to speak, that we have now. Like we can make stuff based on like quality and don't have to, in the design phase of everything we do, have to make trade-offs because we need to sell it. It's like my sister's making movies, and the really cool, that's how it works in the movie industry. Like the really cool scripts, they don't get made because they don't necessarily sell to a mainstream audience, you know.
But we
So
can do the
the,
inverse.
huh
We can do the inverse. We can just make master crafted things that people come to us about. I love it. That's what I do with my life.
right, we can do it. We can do stuff based on what we think is like quality, and that feels like our purpose here, which
Sir,
is like first
Schwank.
principles and adoption.
That could what schwank means. I made up that word. Now it's going to mean principles and adoptions. I got a lot of schwank.
I love how you make up a word and then
Yeah, we're going to
say
get
it,
that one in the dictionary.
expecting that everyone knows what it is.
One
What it
one
schwank.
time I was schwank. Yeah. One time I was in a situation where I was on a phone with people who were trying to hurt me, and they were like, "Where are you at?" And I was like, I got a lot of schwank," and then I hanged up, and because I knew they didn't know, but it was a good way of dismounting on them, and it was my word.
They didn't know what you knew. By the way, guys,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're Honey Deals, me and War Dog, we're just talking, like we can talk for hours. Feel free to step in if you guys have questions, if you want to talk about something, whatever. The floor is all of ours. So
I'd like to hop
yeah,
in for a minute if you guys have a few.
sure.
So the past couple days I've been trying to, it's very
Oh, hey,
difficult.
KT. Good to hear you,
Hey,
man.
how's it going, man? It's very difficult to get your hands on Glimmer here in the US for whatever reasons. And I've been trying to find a solution to that. Also, as well as Evmos, I've been hearing multiple people having to go through all kinds of different steps just to get it into their wallet, especially if they're not going through a central exchange. Most particularly is not available to me here in the US. It's all overseas exchanges as well. But I did come across a network called, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Sealer or Seller, Celer. Um, its utility token is based on Ethereum, but apparently they're calling it a Tendermint based blockchain. And it essentially has a bridge to all of these over 100 networks apparently, and I'm seeing that I can bridge Ethereum. I can literally exchange Ethereum for all the networks that Zen has covered so far through their application here. I don't know if Seller seems very popular. I hopped on their Telegram group, has 22,000 members. The Etherscan, Block Explorer, there's all of the major exchanges are doing business, exchanging for their native token. I don't know if anybody's heard of it yet, or if they would like to do a little research in and of itself. I don't know. I think it might be a good way to help people get into these other chains, especially Evmos and Glimmer, that's having difficulty in their region of the world. So apparently it's saying on their website it supports 39 chains right now for bridging. So it could be very interesting for Zen. I don't know if anybody has any input on that. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I've heard it coming up. I'm at their site right now in their app. Like you're using the C bridge, right? So basically you can bridge tokens from one network to another. So did you try to get Glimmer? And from which network you choose, like ETH from Ethereum to Glimmer on Moonbeam in one transaction, or what did you do?
I haven't gone for it yet. I'm probably going to today. I just kind of wanted to, sleep on it and do a little more research, but
Yeah.
it looks legitimate
If
to me.
I
The whole
if
idea
I
for me was to go straight from Ethereum to any other network. It, just like a one-step deal.
Right.
Yeah, if I may say, I've actually used Seller before, and I've used it not recently, but a few months ago when I was moving stuff around, and it's pretty effective. And at that time, they didn't have as many bridges as they do now, as you just mentioned. But yeah, I've read about it, and I have used it many times before, and it is one of the tools I use when I'm moving crypto around.
Great.
What
Thank
what
you.
is it based on? Is it based on like layer 0 or
If I'm not
you know?
mistaken, I think it's on Polkadot.
I don't know. I pulled their utility token is an Ethereum token.
Okay, yeah, but Polkadot is Ethereum compatible as well. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's Polkadot,
Yes.
but I may be mistaken.
Well, yeah, that was kind of the Moonbeam is a parachain of Polkadot, which specifically is designed to work with Ethereum dApps and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anybody
interesting. I'm gonna play around with it. Good advice, Kitty. Yeah, that's also something that we might need to do, like create sort of tables where we can direct people to trusted.
There's also another bridge that I use, which is really quite incredible, and it's also anonymous. So if you're moving large or small amounts, it's really cutting edge, and it's one of the few anonymous bridges that is they're really trying to kind of manage the side of obviously not getting too outrageous with the way they allow people to move funds so that they kind of stay under the radar. But on the other hand, they are also very strong on their privacy. So they're kind of, it's a very delicate balancing act that anybody with that type of protocol is going to have to balance. But they're doing really good. It's called Block Blend. Blockblend.io, I think is the website. You should check them out. The website is not the flashiest, most sexy, but it's very, very cheap and extremely efficient. And it's one of those hidden gems at the moment. I'm quite heavily invested in them. I have to say, but I think it's definitely one that everyone should use and potentially invest. I think the next bull run and the way things are going in the world at the moment, with all of the governments clamping down and trying to get their hands on everyone's money, I think it's a great tool to have, as well as Seller and other bridges that are quite useful out there. So
Do you know
so
blockblend.io? Do you know the guys behind it?
well, obviously, it being
They're fully
an
anonymous as well, I guess.
yeah, yeah. But they launched about 7 months ago, and so far I only have incredibly positive things to say about them. They're totally they're very much on board with their Telegram chats. They're very informative. They keep everyone up to date with what's happening. They're also creating a anonymous sec DEX. They're also creating an anonymous DEX, which they have not released yet, just purely because of the market situations. But they're sitting on that. I know they finished that probably a couple months ago, but they're not going to release it now because they obviously want something to promote once the market starts to get hot. And so they're sitting on that. But
They've got a lot of things in the pipeline, but at the moment it's doing its thing and building up usage, and they've got links with or they've got bridges with Ethereum. Off the top of my head, Ethereum, Cosmos, Binance. I think about 7 or 8 chains they've got, and also Pulse Chain as well. They've already got Pulse Chain in there, ready and waiting. So yeah, that's a good little tool to have in your box.
And there is another one. Several days ago, I think Jack of Hearts was explaining. It's called bridge.secret.network, and it works with the Kepler wallet and also with MetaMask, and you can bridge through from Ethereum, Monero, Binance Smart Chain to Secret Network to Kepler wallet and bridge back, and you anonymize your stuff this way also.
Okay.
What was it? Bridge.secret.
Bridge.scrt.network.
Okay. I've not heard of that one before.
Yeah, and a Kepler wallet, and a Jack of Hearts was really explaining step by step how to do it, and it's very interesting. Yeah.
What's the Alike? What's the benefit of Kepler wallet versus MetaMask? You'd say?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it does the same thing, but I don't know much about it. I haven't researched it yet, so.
Yeah, good advice, guys. Bridge.scrt.network, secret.network. We got blockblend.io and sealer.network. Check them out. Be careful with all of them.
Yeah.
But definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, so since we're focused on omni-chain kind of stuff, would this seller network be a candidate for launching Xenon? I don't even know if that's possible.
I haven't heard so much about Sealer myself. Actually, maybe someone here knows more about that.
Because it appears to be a blockchain of itself with its own utility token, but it's also like this bridging network kind of thing. It's kind of interesting.
Sorry, I was a little at a distance. Were you talking about Stellar? Or
Seller?
Yeah, Sealer. What do you know about it?
Oh,
yeah.
No, sorry. What is that? Denizen? Teller? No?
Seller, CELER.network.
Okay. I don't know about that. I thought you were saying Stellar. Okay.
So it looks like it's a network that integrates like crazy amounts of bridging to other chains.
I also joined the Moonbeam network today. They have a Telegram group. I bet we can source like a lot of best practices to bridge over it there by joining their communities. It's Moonbeam _official. Seem to be some pretty great guys there. Gonna do some sort of. I connected Jack there to founder of Moonbeam. So they're gonna talk. Probably gonna do some sort of recorded talk within a few days. Would be interesting to know more about that chain. Also, Evmos. I don't know what their Telegram group is.
I mean, if we get on all the most used chains and the better chains that offer the best experience overall and have the bigger size, like it's easy for me to see that Zen being on multiple chains and having that huge user base, it could quickly become that Zen itself kind of becomes part of the market kind of decision making in a way, as like chains will want to have Zen rather than the other way around. Like it could be possible. There's many chains that are still not deployed, and probably some better chains, actually, technologically speaking. There was this one chain that guy maybe 5 days ago, Smart Component, was talking about. RSK, for example, seems like a very interesting chain. I don't know much about it. I know it's based on Bitcoin, but he was very bullish on that. Although his most bullish project ever was Zen. And this guy was in crypto for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years. So I'm just saying, like, it could be like we end up being where blockchains, they need to have Zen. Like they want to have Zen because it's such a big community and base of users.
So we should probably create like, AMAs with like founders or someone that's like really connected in each chain, and where they could guide us through like the best, like a lot of like useful information about that chain in general, and also how to interact with it in the best way. I'm gonna bring it up with Jack. Like we should start with Moonbeam, for instance, since we're gonna talk to them. And then have some sort of like checklist of stuff. Yeah, sorry, I got quiet. When you have 5 ideas going on in your head at parallel.
You're not alone, too. That's why I can't. It's constant.
Yeah. There's so many things going on here at the same time. It's moving so fast, which makes it fun.
And I was kind of
Moonbeam is very neat. Go ahead, honey.
Okay, sorry. Just very shortly, I just was, because it comes to my mind that you can start on this mission to spread out wide, but in another way, it's like it's not necessarily, you don't want to. It's not necessarily the best. There's a middle ground. There's a like dosing where you kind of do things well. You start, and then you can kind of become a player in the market where you kind of decide things, and yeah, like those chains that are worthwhile are the ones that you go to, and it's kind of an incentive. I'm finding hard to express what I mean here, but it's kind of like you dose it. You don't over dilute, but you kind of bring value and worth, and also weighting into the overall market as the way things are to be. Because if Zen is to set some standards or some new standards of just how things are and the way players behave for themselves, well, they should have a word in that, that corresponds to their size and user base.
Right. I mean, I get there's many points you made there, but one of them was like it's very easy for us to get like diluted very fast in our attention, and we sort of have to take care of everyone coming in here. I think it will be easy for people to like feel like, oh wait, there's too much going on here at the same time with like 7 different chains. We're going to be like doubling that shortly as well. But we have to remind people, like, you don't have to feel like FOMO or anything. You know, even though Zen will be represented on various different chains, you might as well just, you know, keep yourself to one chain, whether that be ETH or someone else, and that's just as fine. You know, the Zen, the ratios of Zen on all the different chains are gonna find their harmony by the market, their ratios. So yeah, if you pick up that someone is feeling like overwhelmed by all of this, it can be good to make them feel that they're not really missing out. Like we are just like running Usain Bolt style here. It's madness. It's insanity what we're doing. We're just like it's because we have a protocol with like 400 lines of code. It's like we're super lightweight. That's why we can just deploy everywhere, and just the concept is pretty easy. That's why we can do this. And we need to do it as well. We need to grow fast. But yeah, you get my point. We need to explore the different terrains everywhere, and we need to unite everyone. And it might seem chaotic, but we're pretty cool about it as well. There's no need to FOMO or anything. We're doing everything for the community, but we need to just like go head straight, crash, bam, boom, bang. But if you're really uncertain about like the basics and what you're doing, like no FOMO at all. Just calm down and learn just the basics of the white paper, and focus on one chain and do that well. That's going to bring you, if you do one chain well and you learn that, that's going to bring you like a lot more confidence then to explore another, and then another, and then another. But it's quite cool to see people like really starting to open up and like, oh wait, I've never been there. That's really fun to see people exploring other chains, which they never had a reason to before.
Kind of why I found Seller to be interesting, because it supports many tokens as well. So if it was possible, I don't know, if Zen were to launch on that network, it would be very easy to jump over to other networks, you know, for like say from Avalanche Zen over to ETH Zen, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely worth checking out Seller more.
You know, like one way of looking at it, an angle of looking at it, the question, like imagine that in the future, in the, you know, next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever, some new technology comes out and it's so much better, or, you know, these different things. And it's like, it's really making its mark on the market. And it might not be EVM, or it might be something different, right? But if the Zen community is like the Apple phone was to all phones, then it's, you see, it because it did things well, and it kept congruent with itself, and it did not lose its, you know, what it is. Then it becomes there's much easier to evolve and move on to the next, and find the solutions and all the incentives that you need for that to happen. You know, it's like it's the Zen community. It's like you got to get it where things are going, because it's the Zen community, because it's something unique and different. And I think that's the biggest thing we have here, especially being the first that's accomplished what's have been accomplished so far in this, you know, in the very small amount of time. You know, as opposed to, you know, going fast or going wide. as being the ultimate goal. I mean, it can seem that way in the short term, but ultimately it's really about gaining that identity and that very unique way of viewing and treating crypto for people, and the people that be a great experience, if it's their first or not, their best experience of community, crypto, and just the tokenomics, everything about it, basically. And also all the market that's going to come to the user base and offer so much options. For example, the guy who was talking about, he sees like there's going to be a bunch of airdrops for Zen in the next, or things offered to Zen specifically, because that's just how it works. You don't make an odd drop to a community that no one heard about. You'll do it on Ethereum, right? So yeah, I'm just reiterating, but I just see a lot of the value in what we already have and what we're, everything we're doing. And I wouldn't be stressed about it. Definitely not. I think there's really not much to be stressed about, actually, because the ball's already rolling and everything is just going so well. So I think it's just basically just, keeping with it one thing at a time, and not losing the energy and the focus and the positive vibes. Like that's the most important thing, basically, is what I'm saying.
Right, and we've been talking about it, and I've been iterating it with Jack like last couple of days as well, how we're gonna it's a community here, and everything is not going to be run by like team. Like the community is the team ultimately. So how do we provide that like platform for people to engage? We're probably going to keep it like super simple initially, create another Telegram, which is like the ecosystem where people wanting to build stuff can just like have their own sandbox and go deeper into the making of different stuff. So some people have amazing ideas, like honey deals. You have amazing ideas, and you're happy to share them and throw them out there. And other people are like builders, like Joe Blau, for instance. What a guy, super amazing. He built Zen.fyi, which is like an interface that connects to Zen protocol as well. So instead of going to like Zen.network, you could mint and claim your C rank from his side, and it looks just like if you go there, Zen.fyi looks just like insanely cool. He did it really, really well. But at the same time, like just a disclaimer, we haven't like audited or anything his site, so I can't like sit here and say that it's 100% safe to do it. But so you're basically doing it on your own risk, FYI. However, with that said, it's just like super nice to see that creativity from someone blossoming up. This is where we would need like the Zen police coming in and just like checking in. He's connected to some protocol which is audited, but then the interface could be like hacked as well. He seems like super competent, so I think he's done it in a proper way. But you never know. There's so many different things popping up from here.
I mean, if you consider right away from the beginning, if you just speculate and you say, well, you imagine Zen is going to be so big and so diversified, right? So how do you manage that? Like from the get-go, you pose the question. It's very different than just a very small, endeavor and a very small community, and you can kind of, grasp and gain control quite easily. But to probably not be the case with Zen from the get-go. It's not realistic to think that you can control something that could, builds in the tens of millions potentially, right? So easily. And so probably it's just best to kind of, and there will be free market in that, obviously. I mean, that's a lot what Zen is about, and people will do mistakes, and there'll be this and that. And as long as the code, there's no problem with it, and people can mint and use the tokenomics, they'll get into things. Maybe some will have regrets, and there will be some bad actors. But I would, such a big endeavor, I would tend to make use of the community and try a way to encourage it, and kind of how to regulate it, right? Like, not regulate in the sense of police the community. I just mean in the way of directing the flow and helping and coordinate. So, for example, the police aspect of it need not be a single entity that derives necessarily from just like the founding team and is controlled by them, but it could be that in the beginning, but also other aspects to it that other communities, parts of the community take part in, to go even further and push it even, in more detail. And they could ask for Zen as a compensation for their any services, like what I was explaining earlier when you came in, like a shield or whatever. But yeah, kind of like thinking it of as like we have a huge community that we need to help out here, and what are the best first items that we should get the ball rolling on, the most important and essential ones, and we try to gather everyone and coordinate the best possible. Without, I think that the effort would be better spent in that way than to try to really do everything, or make it in a very like you know concretized way, just more open-ended, but you're like in the back and you're watching everything with a watchful eye and communicating the most essential things. And obviously the team, the founding team, can easily vet things and say, well, this is the part of the community right now that is watching, and if you have any this or that, they can always approach, and they're vetted basically. So like the police could be a portion of the community that get together to go through all the data, go through all the information, listen, receive the information, and contribute in bringing it to one website or something. And then obviously, that's accessible for the team to look at, and if there's any issues, intervene. But I think more will be done more quickly, and it will also be more enticing that all these dimensions of the project, people will get involved in. I think it's more productive. It's my opinion, as a way when you're trying to do a big scale thing.
Yeah. So all like this is the fun thing in this equation. It's how to optimize the community in a safe way, right? You need things to be sort of verified in a safe way. But you also need it to be open enough, and so that people can feel like, oh wow, this is a sandbox where I can come in and just play with different stuff. It really like breaks my heart when I see people do like really cool stuff, but we can't just like put a stamp on it or whatever, because of mostly the fact that we haven't established the framework for doing so yet, or had time to really look into everything that's being built, which also goes for like efforts from genuine people to create like sub communities. So really it's to like find that sweet spot of providing the platform for that creativity to take place, but also have the community sort of self analyzing everything that goes on, and like verifying that it's legit stuff, which need not to work only today, but also stand like the test of time somehow. It's like really super interesting equations. Hello.
Hey, Zanzu and Honey, how you guys doing?
Hello.
Good. Who is this?
How you doing?
Oh, Moon. Hey,
Doing
Moon.
good. Doing good. Doing good. Great conversation. I like what you guys are talking about. Um, one, can I give a little input here? A little?
Of course.
Yeah. So
Sure.
I think you were talking about policing. I mean, I don't know if we want to use the word policing in a. It just sounds like a little too. What do you call it? Not strict, but I think auditors might be a better word when you're talking about checking or vetting, certain applications or projects, right? Would it be better for it to be called auditors
Yeah.
other than police?
Yeah, for sure. It comes from, it's like in Pulse, there's this group called Pulse Police. That's their name. And what
Okay,
they're
okay.
doing is that they're like sort of going deeper into the code, etc. But
Okay,
thanks for
okay.
pointing it out, because if you don't know that reference, then you're sort of like,
Yeah.
wait a
Those
minute,
are,
are we going to create a task force here?
yeah.
Yeah, I get your point.
And then for some people, in certain communities, talking about, oh, we're gonna have a police, then that's kind of like
No.
defies the open source kind of thing. You know what I mean? Or yeah, deep. You know what I mean? So yeah, perfect, awesome, good.
Yeah. ACAB, for sure. Thanks for pointing it out. Yeah, I think we mentioned it. It might have been before it came in. Like Pulse has this group where it's called the Pulse Police, where they're sort of dedicated to like really check, really audit, really make sure that it's safe stuff, so the rest of the community can be like, oh yeah, but Pulse Police took a look at this and they thought it was great. So we sort of need an equivalent of that for Zen, but maybe we don't need to call it Zen Police, or when we talk about it, we could make it clear. Thanks for pointing it out, Moon.
But it fits well in that exactly with
We don't want to create some
yeah, it
central
fits well.
police force. I think the world has had enough of those.
Yes, and what you were saying, Moon, is it's exactly, and well, not there was another reason for it, but exactly why I had suggested earlier, like maybe something on the lines of guardians, or it could be watchful or something like that. But it also fits in with the kind of top bottom, um, regulating or just direction. Maybe not the word regulating, orchestrating is probably the better word. So this orchestrating of things. So you have this watchful aspect, which is very close to the top, the team, and sets these mechanisms, these mechanisms of community mechanisms where the community actually onboards, and they're doing the police work, but it's not like a police force, right? It's like hired by the city hall, and they're a very close community. It's and so the guardians or the watchers or whatever it is, the Zen watchers, they're a community effort, and obviously the team can communicate with them back and forth, and they can grow. Because I think one of the big things here and the issues, I would suspect, even like from Jack's point of view, I can only imagine, like he said he expected how many people, right? He expected, I think at first 10,000, and then it's like 100,000 and a million and 10 million, and it's like he said it exceeded by far his expectations. So I can only imagine there's a lot of like, okay, how do we deal with all this? Obviously it seems to me we need to get the community as quickly as possible in taking part in the effort that we need to do. and then
Yeah.
directing them the best possible.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. And I think I like the word guardians much better, just because, in the sense of guarding the community, right? Um, but yeah, that definitely is something that I guess we can discuss as a community and see what's the best, name to use. But no, definitely the fact that we're trying to, protect all the new onboards and whatnot with all those different projects that are being built, just like with any other projects out there. There's always going to be newcomers with new ideas, new things to interact with the current project or whatnot. But like Zen said earlier, some of these things, even though people create them or whatnot, you just never know what their purposes is, whether it could be nefarious or whatnot. So you have to guard the people, or you got to guard not members of our community, to make sure that they don't get into something that then later are going to come back and blame Zen. You know what I mean? That's probably the last thing we want to do, is to tarnish the name of Zen.
Exactly. Agreed. It's very worthwhile to think and talk about this right now. I think it's one of the first things, probably, like we talk many things like social networking, but like this definitely is on the top of the list. Already getting some qualified people, and there are many of them that are able to read contracts, to decipher what's going on, and to work together and gather this information, and then maybe just need to have like a website to give access to these different things and talk about it and inform. It's not so complicated if you have all the people that are doing the common effort. It's not like it doesn't require much technology or anything new. So I think it's very viable, and we could get it going as quickly as possible. As soon as a website or whatever, or the call is made to those who can contribute to that. Obviously, it's not for a graphic artist to do; it's for those who know how to do that.
Yeah, like maybe not. Maybe I'm using technical. I was thinking the word that came up to my mind right now was a technical writer, or somebody that's good at writing. Like a how to, right? So one of the first things I think is, for all the newbies, right? We got to think. I've only been in this crypto space for the last year or so. I guess I'm still a newbie, but talking about the people that have never done any crypto, you know, they're jumping into an ocean of so much information. It's hard for them to understand everything, and then discern between what's good and what's bad. You know what I mean? So for some of us that have been around for a little bit, we've heard stories of people out there, that jump on different chat rooms, and I've been on different chat rooms where people have, unfortunately told their sad stories where they've been hacked, which is bad. Obviously, it's always bad, but as we know it, it's a rough world out there. There's people out there always, there's, like they say, there's the wolf, and right in the pile of sheep, right? Because there's people always going to be trying to take advantage of the new ones. So I guess, like you were saying, honey, there's got to be a way. I guess if there's a website where people can come to, like, you know how they have the how to polls. I don't know if you guys talked about this before, but maybe I think I heard earlier, or a couple of weeks ago, somebody mentioned a how to Zen. I mean, would that be something practical, where a lot of information, this sort of information, could be gathered and put up for people to easily access, especially for newbies? Like security. Security has got to be a big point.
Yeah, and then expanded on FAQ, where more information can be added and people can go refer to try to see if there's the answers to their questions. Definitely, I think we could start this quite quick. As you were talking, I'm thinking, okay, how can we do this like today, right? Like get this going, and I could easily see just starting with just a Telegram channel dedicated to that and to what you just mentioned, you know, the basic questions and all that, although that information is there, but we could kind of try to consolidate it and maybe have a few people, like I myself can help with that, answering some questions or concerns that we've had that in the chat here. But yeah,
we have a FAQ in Zempedia, but you knew about that, right?
right. But when we're right, yeah. So maybe I don't know how. Maybe we can make it
But
something in and of itself, and maybe with some kinds of means of communicating, other than, you know, email or whatever, or where people could quickly maybe inform of. A lady came in here yesterday, and she had just gotten, well, quote unquote, hacked, right? Or her B&B disappeared, and it was while she was doing the whole process of minting. Well, we talked with her, you know, it was on and off, and figured out. I went on Binance Scan with her, checked it out, da 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 da. So we figured out that it was some kind of Trojan. It was nothing related with Zen, but nonetheless, she was minting Zen at that moment. She had 80 BNB wallets, 100 Ethereum wallets, and it was no big deal. She didn't lose a lot of money. It was like $30. But yeah, so we got some answers, some some questions answered. She left very thankful, and we got some information of a potential risk or something to talk about, and then you can add it. So a kind of way where people can access those who are able to help and are available, and then use all that to expand on the FAQ or any pertinent new information that should be related.
yeah, I think what's about to come, ET has been talking about it for a while. I don't know what happened with that. We're gonna create a separate Telegram group, like Telegram help, um, which is gonna be like, if people have like technical issues, etc., they can go there. So that probably needs to be like managed by some admins. And they could basically take the Zempedia FAQ and just like expand on that somehow as well, however they would see fit. That's a good idea. Guys, I gotta run. I have a few things to sort out. Exciting stuff coming up, and it's getting late. But thanks as always for amazing talks. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Zenzu, have a good one. I got to run myself too, but I'll try to jump in a little bit later and see if I can, you know, if Honey Deals you're still here, I'll chat with you later. Catch you later. Bye.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Zensu. Good, you know, another page in the chapter. Very good talk.
Yeah, another good day. Love it. I'll
Yeah.
see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye. So many things to do, and so many people to do it. I think probably a cool way to setting things up, in orchestrating things, what I was mentioning earlier of directing the flow of things, is to do it initially in a way where you set it up so that people, you know, they can contribute but very much according to their availabilities, their disposition, their own, you know, inspiration to do so, very differently than how like normal jobs work. So that way you can have more help in the numbers, and everybody keeps, to want to contribute. This is kind of a big deal. Like if this were to blow to 100 million, like much faster than anticipated, that's a lot. I mean, that is a lot of people and questions and stuff going on. You need people who help in that. To protect the ecosystem, the project.
Yeah, it's good that you guys are talking about it now.
Yeah, I think it's very on point that we're talking now about it.
What kind of feelings do you guys have about? I'm just kind of floating this out there. What if there was almost like a help desk like website where we could direct newcomers to go there, and it would basically have a drop down menu with kind of levels of where people were at. So, like,
What do you mean by levels?
what level newbie status they are?
You're breaking up a little bit there, Jakob.
Um, hopefully I can get this out before I break up again. But it'd be nice to have like a way to, like a site or something that we could direct newbies to, and they could kind of scroll down a list and select which tier they're at, like which level they're at, and then from there we could direct them better to be supported. Similar to like a help chat bot on
Yeah,
most websites.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Like level 1, never use MetaMask. The basics, and then there's a lot of people that can help with that. Then level 2, and then level 3. You lost your funds, your money disappeared. You were whatever. More complicated things where we have to go look on the Binance scan or the Ethereum scan and try to see what's happening and interpret it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then if there's an issue that is unresolved, maybe we could even, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like let's say if there's an issue that someone is having and they can't solve it all, it like pings us in Telegram to alert us that, okay, this person went through all these steps, but they still have trouble. They need somebody to talk to.
That's a great idea. Very, very, both organized and efficient. Like it's well, I don't know if the word is streamlined, but the flow of it is very good. Because then those more difficult issues, unresolved issues, they would get to the most amount of people that could actually help, or if not, have the contacts that could answer those questions.
If I make a layout for somebody, would someone be willing to make that into a web page format, into a HTML site or something?
I wonder, yeah.
Taker.
Yeah, no, that like we're so at the beginning. We need to get these things, kind of on a list of who can do what, and because there's so many different things. So yeah, that would be great if you did a layout. You'd be able to do that, I'm sure, quite like efficiently and quickly. Just get something going. I don't know. You can maybe ask Stardust, made of Stardust, if that's something, because her website is just looks great, right? And given it's such a basic fundamental thing, the help desk. If anyway, maybe just throw it her way and see what she thinks and what it would involve. She's not in the
Okay.
chat at the moment.
What's her website?
It's the
What's her website
Zen,
though?
Zen Crypto, zencrypto.io.
Oh, that one. Okay. I realized that was her. Okay. I'll reach out.
I don't know. It doesn't cost anything to reach out and get her input about it. Is my suggestion right now. See what she has to say. She's in the.
I definitely am. Yep. Yeah. I definitely think that this is something that we probably should get on as soon as possible. Because in the other day we were in a chat and there was a bunch in there, but just talking about even thinking about transactions and deal with it. And I felt a little.
Oh, and if it's too entailing in the beginning to do certain aspects, you need not do them. It's just about, doing what's possible, the quickest possible, and the more essential things first. So it could be just kind of like what you described, level 1, level 2, level 3 kind of fact questions and answers. And, so people can choose, and then they go through it. And then there's just if there's not someone there, it just would direct to the Telegram, like the help Telegram. Then they can ask the question specifically, and somebody could come and answer. If I know the answer and I don't need to be in the Telegram at that moment, but I'll see their question and then I can communicate with them. Or I could even open a voice chat and talk with them. Like I've been doing this, both here and also in the French Telegram. Yesterday, I left here to go spend basically 20 minutes talking with some guy, and he was very interested in how, very quite sophisticated questions, and I just answered it. And he was a little bit skeptical. His concerns had to do with the batch minting and all that, and I just took the time to explain him all the implications. And at the end, he was like super hyped and excited and happier than ever that he had even started a week ago, and now he just wanted to do more.
Magnifique. That's awesome.
Magnifique, yes. And he was in France, and it was 2:40 in the morning for him.
Oh my
He was
gosh.
he was at work. No, well, he was at work. He was working night times. But yeah, just like that's when it's because it's good when you can deal with things in the crypto space when the iron is hot. The person, they just lost something or something is not working and they're stressed out. And and the lady, I don't know if you were in the room yesterday when the lady was there, but it was like she had called the exchange help support, and then she had called MetaMask, and like 24 hours had passed before she got a response. And it's like, all because of her wanting to be in Zen. Not that it was related, but it would be cool if she could have gotten that in the first, couple of hours and versus couple of days.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Hey, Rome, are you there?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Deal? How you
Hey,
doing, man?
man. Hey, buddy. So how's it going on your side? Have you anything, you know, have you
Success on.
continued minting? Yeah,
Yeah.
anything new for you? Have you gotten into another chain? Have you gotten some buddies in something?
Actually,
What's been your
me and my friend here, we're talking about just uh, collectively getting some liquid Zen and accumulating. Uh, he's a brilliant mind, and he likes to have it liquid for some reason or another. He just
right? Okay,
you know,
yeah, he
yeah.
wants to play that side a little bit. So is it like you thinking of setting up some liquidity pools or something like that?
No. Just to have it and and have it readily available. And Jack of Hearts spoke about it a couple weeks ago. It's just different approaches. We've got lot of dates already. You know what I mean to claim it. I was just looking at mine, and hardly do I have any 1 day mints, but I'm gonna start getting into that. You know,
1 day mints?
yeah,
Wow. Okay.
we could do that. We could do that. Why not? Right? We could do it. I
Wow.
got.
Okay. I mean, we've had some discussions about it yesterday, namely, but many others. But yesterday, which is kind of recently, one guy had some mints. He came in here, so he had done 1 day mints and 3 day mints and I think 7 day mints. So he had some mints.
Okay.
So he came in here and he asked basically, what can I do with them? Like he wanted to know if he should stake them. What was the best thing to do with them?
Right.
And I had to answer, most honestly, that unfortunately there was nothing to do with them because the way that the math works and all that, like if he sold them, he would it would cost him more than they were worth. So he would lose just by the fact of selling them in gas fees. So
Right.
so and even if he staked them, and this is the part that he didn't understand because he was wanting to stake them, I explained to him that he would never with the 20% APY ever even come close to what he would get by just making another mint with those gas fees. Instead of spending the gas on staking, just mint another mint long term, right?
Long
So
term. Okay.
yeah, of course long term because what he said is he had a bunch of mints and he said if I add them all up, it comes up to around I'd have like 10 million. What can I do with that, right? I said, first of all, you're going to have to do a bunch of transactions just to claim and share them all to the same wallet to get that 10 million. And then if you take the 10 million and you stake it, you'll in 3 years from now at 20 APY, you'll have 6 million more, 60%. 20 times 3 years, 60%. So
Right.
3 years later, you'll have 16 million. Whereas you could just make another mint of a year's length approximately, and you'll have 30 million more for the cost of one gas fee instead of six, right?
Right.
You
Right.
see what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying? So he was like, oh man, the light bulbs are going up in my head. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So,
Okay.
I'm just telling you, uh, it was unfortunate that I had to say to him, there's really nothing to do with the tokens except if there's enough, but there wasn't enough to sell them and not be at a loss, then you sell them right away
Right.
because right if you're over even $1 and it's a small amount, you just sell it off because it's going to keep going down in value because so many more Zen are hitting the market.
Right.
And that's just because we're in the
Infants.
inflationary phase of Zen. This will come to an end, but now we're in inflationary phase, and the price is going to keep going down. So people who make short mints, they're chasing something that's basically unachievable,
Mm,
and they're thinking that staking it is going to help them out when it's actually not.
right.
And
Instead, you
you
just
know,
mint at a longer rate, get that same amount, or actually more, because you get more mints, more if you
much more, yes.
much more. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, a lot more.
A lot
Check it
more.
out, man. It's the way the prices are working right now. It kind of fluctuates as far as current gas costs, right? So right now, considering the gas costs, you would basically be able to break even after a 1 week mint. Now that does not include selling on the market as well. That would be an additional gas cost, which would spike it up, maybe 10 days or more just to break even. And that's assuming that it was sitting still as well and not moving
Well,
during that time.
yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. And that's the part that needs to be understood most, I think, by people that are doing this. That even if he does, like he says, okay, 10 days plus 10 days, I'll do a 20-day then, or I'll do a 30-day and then I'll be in profit. No, because that's going to be 30 days in the future. And that whole equation won't work anymore because the price will have gone down in 30 days. And now it's not 30 days that would be you'd break even or be profitable. Now it's 60 days. So now what do you do? Right? So you're always chasing the moving target of the price discovery of Zen as while it's in its inflationary phase, at the most extreme, it just doesn't work. And then there's those who say, well,
You'd be lucky to catch up. It would be like some sort of bizarre stroke of luck for it to work.
yeah, absolutely. It would be very bizarre because if you're saying, well, maybe there'll be a green candle, right? Okay, maybe there'll be a green candle. Well, how big will that green candle have to be in the next 30 days if the price went even more so down in those 30 days? So now you have the ones that you just got and you're waiting for a green candle. I mean, we're talking about a major green candle here, like ridiculous amount, right? It went up 10x. Now you have all the supply of all those that have their mints, their shorter mints that they've already put in their bag and don't know what to do with. And there's a 10x candle, that's not going to last very long. Might last a few minutes, maybe seconds, and probably won't even occur in the first place. So I've looked at it and I can see candles appear, but it's more like the kind of candles like, oh, it's the middle of the day and most of the mints are the supply hits like later on or something like that, or there's a little gap and you can have a 2x or 3x, but it's still very dependent on is your mint of the day, is if we're on day 30, did you mint a 30-day on day one? Then it's cool. But if you're talking about a mint of a 10-day term mint that was done on day one and now we're day 30, even that green candle is not going to save you. It's not going to make it profitable, you know?
There's always that chance. I mean, me and this guy last night were, the biggest liquidity pool on Uniswap V3 was only like 100 grand. So, if somebody jumps in there with 10 grand, I mean, we all know what'll happen there. He'll dilute himself getting all of that, but at the same time, it would definitely move the price. Just someone who's just jumps in and doesn't read the news white paper and that whole thing. But
Yeah. But then, yeah, exactly. But then, how much will you need to really? Will it move the price enough that your 1-day mint now becomes profitable with the gas fee you're going to pay to do the swap, or is it going to move enough that you're going to need one of those 20-day or 10-day rather? We're not even 20 days yet, but a 10-day mint to make some profit Not the 1 day, right? The 1 day is too small. You have too little there that candle really made it profitable. So it's you're still going to need a good amount. And the other thing is, for how many seconds or minutes is that going to last? Because the guy
Yeah, it's
put
a big
right
gamble for sure.
big,
But
big.
if 10%, for example, was taken out of a pool all of a sudden, that would spike the price really fast.
Would. But the other thing to consider is that this phenomenon that you're talking about, this risky gamble, if where you don't know if it's going to happen or not, is going to always become less and less likely because the liquidity is just going to be
Yeah.
getting bigger and bigger, right? So it's going to be that much harder to move it. So the whole premise is kind of like that's why I've been saying since quite a bit, like if you want to gamble like that on a spike or a green candle and do a trade, might as well use some other coin where the supply is not hitting the market at a super fast rate being printed, in its inflationary phase, and just take something that has a fixed supply for a while, and that
Totally.
green candle, will allow you
Yeah,
to at least.
super risky move to be playing that game with Zen right now. Extremely risky. It's just like, yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, honey deals on whatever this information site is. I think there should be a Zenomics tab, and you can just kind of explain these concepts to new people.
It kind of is in the paper. I mean, it
Yeah,
doesn't
I
talk
guess.
specifically about liquidity pools and stuff, but
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, it would be a good thing to have it published somehow. I've been here just taking, anyone's questions and just trying to help, especially in the beginning. But I'm just hopeful that all this information and users, like everybody's going to start to understand more and more the tokenomics. I kind of expected that on the first and second day and third day. I think the more we'll go, the less of that will happen because inevitably people are going to be learning their lessons. I mean, it's very clear when you take out a 10-day term and you come to sell it and you're not even breaking even after the gas fees. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. But obviously new people are coming in and they're, they don't know.
Yeah, do we have a hashtag support tab in the Discord maybe as well? I noticed a lot of other crypto projects because I actually, I think I'm well versed enough, but I had an issue when I was messing around with one of the new chains, and I was trying to do a gasless swap on Stella, and I had to convert Polkadot into XC dot and then get Glimmer from that. And they had a support tab in their Discord channel, which was nice to be able to find that location. So do we have a support tab in Discord, in our Discord channel?
I wouldn't know. I've tried to make peace with Discord. I haven't succeeded yet.
Yeah, I keep trying to. I can't do it either. Yeah, checking out because I've never really messed around with Evmos or what's it called Moon. Blanking on the name, Moon something. I hadn't messed with those chains prior, but I just kind of wanted to mess around with them from the Zen launch. So I was trying to get my coins over there and everything, and just realizing that, you know, Telegram is Telegram as well, and the second I jumped into one of their Telegrams, like I just got bombarded with, you know, bots and spammers. I don't want that to happen to anybody who comes into a Zen chat ever.
So just like that, do we have a Zen help? Did we? Because I may not know.
On Telegram?
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge. I don't think we have an official channel.
ET, if you're around, what do you think about that? Like, just basically, we could start something very basic. You know, it's like there's the price chat. So there's sometimes you have an announcements chat where, you know, just for announcements, if we have a help, and from there maybe we could, you know, start figuring other things out, like you know, setting up a website like what Yako was talking about, and a fact and all that. But we could maybe just start and direct people there. Okay, so he says that's already is already planned. But he does say the help chat is set up and planned from the start. So, okay.
Oh, so we have it?
Oh, no. Okay, so he says it's kind of set up. Okay, I understand what he's saying. So it's set up and all that, and being built out. We just need the admins. Okay, so that's
Classic.
cool. You see, one thing
Hi
at a time.
guys. Sorry, I
Hey,
didn't have
Hey,
a mic operating, but I've been involved in another crypto project. In that project, we had like a main chat, a price chat, and a help chat. And the help chat was where people who were like new and had issues with wallets and creating accounts and like non-speculative, like financial. Sorry, it's my German Shepherd wanting to go for a walk. Non-speculative things, like not help with like financial advice type help, or even probably things like liquidity providing would be too not really the topic there, but just basic things, because it's obviously in a really fast moving chat. People with those questions, they just get left behind, and it's better if they can just be directed to a quieter chat that's normally people come and go and they get help with their question, and there's normally just a few people asking questions at the one time, and other people who are new can just learn by reading those questions. And it's not good to answer anyone's questions like by direct message, so all questions just kind of get sent there for everyone to kind of see who is helping who and what the advice is, and to chip in if the advice is wrong. But that chat is like was already set up. We just needed to get people to help admin that. So but it's
I'm
something
telling
that
you.
people could like leave a question and get an answer. They don't necessarily have to get that answer immediately.
Right, exactly. Like, you know, exactly. Like announcement chats, like it could be just for that, but then it's really just for help. And then I guess it's, as you're saying, how to make it so that it does remain relatively quiet, and maybe not a one per one basis, but you know, closer in that direction. And
It generally works and is quiet because people come, they have a problem, they get it sorted out, and then they go, and anything that's not on topic is just basically ruthlessly deleted, like price chat, whatever. It's really strict. If people don't follow that rule, they just get banned. And that keeps it quiet because people will come there and start saying stuff off topic, but that group has to be like the most strictly moderated group for off topic conversation. And that keeps it just really on topic to people have questions. But often it's a good way to help develop a FAQ because the same things come up over and over and over. And then eventually you can sort of make a trigger to help respond to questions because they're generally the same.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you have your hands. I mean, you have a lot of things on your hands. It would be cool. I mean, ideally, I'd say what?
I
Yes,
can
go
set
ahead.
it up. I just wanted to have a few other admins to kind of
Right.
be part of it initially. And
I'd say
but
let's go for it. Let's go
it
for it.
works really well because as soon as you see a question in the main chat or the price chat that's just like it relate that they need to go to that group, and you just send them the link to that group and say please go over here, and then you follow up with them with the conversation in that chat, and it stops the main chat being flooded with like newbie type questions, which makes it less appealing for people who are more experienced to read just a general kind of discussion about Zen, because it's not peppered with like basic questions all the time filling the chat.
Exactly. And we could just basically say, like, I think transparency works great. Like, the more information that people understand. So we'll try to help you. If there's a lot of people, please be patient. If your answer has not been answered yet, we will get to it. And maybe, you know, I could even see, depends how much people there are and how it goes. But if you wanted to set it up, like, we could even make it where we can use the voice chat as need be. So if an admin, someone who's there to help, like, we could, I was doing this yesterday and it was kind of cool. And I saw on the other Spanish one, I came in to talk to the guy, the admin, and he was doing it with a lady that was like setting up, and he was there. He was even doing it video, showing her like the screen where to click. So it could be like we can open, if if it's too complicated to explain, too much, text and stuff, we could offer that if we're disposed to, like, want to hop in voice, and I'll walk you through this, and then you close it and whatever, like, and you try to answer the simpler questions by text.
Yeah, there
I think.
needs to be a very strong policy that nobody should go to a DM or offer to DM anyone in that chat, because the scammers will target that chat and create titles like Zen Help Desk or something and invite people to contact them privately. And if they don't see constant warnings that no one is to contact anyone privately, they will just go and contact people privately and hand over their private keys or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
definitely.
I was just in that other chat and that happened to me so badly. Like it needs to be really, really, locked down because those people are just gonna bombard a new user.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, basically, you seem to know that that was a good, explanation of what it entails and how it might look. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just feeling uh, that we're better to do and adjust than to wait, just given the speed of things. And like talking to Zen earlier, like, I understand he's trying to figure out quick as possible. And on the one hand, I'm like, we don't need to rush either, but it's a kind of a middle ground here. So
No, we
maybe,
can get this going today. It's all set up. So if
yeah,
there's
I mean,
like a
yeah,
keenness to
exactly.
help do it, then I can get it set up. And like I suggested it at the start because I knew that it would be a critical thing. Like, you don't want to divide Telegram into like dozens of chats, but there's a few key topics. Like the price chat obviously is critical to get all the speculation out of the main chat, and I think this help chat is another key area, and then potentially a developer chat. And beyond that, it starts to get quite like specific and not so critical. But those 4 areas are pretty important. But this help one is really important because especially if it's all about education and onboarding people who are new to crypto, there's going to be a lot of people in this position that need like basic help. Something that I'm about to start doing is creating clips from Jack's videos. So you can kind of in YouTube create a clip and then have the bot respond to like common concerns or questions, I guess, things that Jack's sort of addressed quite concisely. So the bot can provide a short YouTube video clip.
That's through Telegram?
Yeah, so it can respond, it can trigger on keywords. So if people say something like exploit, it can put up a response, which will be like a 2-minute YouTube video they can click on that explains like what the situation is with the FTX exploit and how it's not a Zen exploit, for example. And it can have a selection of videos, so it can pick randomly, so it's not sort of providing the same monotonous content over and over. It can also randomly trigger, so it only triggers maybe 10% of the time or whatever configuration. But it just means that you can provide little short clips into the chat that are informative that other people, not just the person asking the question, will click on and learn, because like it's hard to educate people with a Telegram chat. Just with messages and videos, short videos are much more effective. And people don't really want to read, like a lot of people won't read the white paper. They won't read the FAQ, but they might watch a 2-minute video. But the same thing could be done for the help chat.
So basically, yeah, that's super cool. So basically, all of the main fact and the critical questions could theoretically all be made into videos, or just organized from different videos and kind of address all those main questions. And obviously, then there will always be new strange dilemmas, and then there's an admin or a few admins that can always respond to those. But they would have all that library of information through that mechanism. That's very cool.
Yeah, because there's common like objections that we've seen over and over. Like there's the bots, there's the exploit thing that came up. There's a whole range of things. There's the endless minting, and these things have been covered, and they're quite kind of complex topics, and you can't just reply with a sentence or something to explain them. But
I
short
think
video.
honestly, I have not seen this. Like, maybe I never took attention, but in all the programs and the Telegram groups that I've gone, I've never seen that as a help desk mechanism or anything that you could like just have videos trigger on specific questions. So definitely, if we could get this set up, and just we need to be a few admins that are there for any other to fill in the gaps and start maybe finding videos, or maybe some people can even make some for specific questions. I mean, that would be really cool, especially consider for the project in terms of a a service offered, and especially given the huge amount of people coming on, and the objective of getting no coiners. So they actually have more questions than many other projects that are more degen projects, which they don't even come close to. So that would be I think that's for bang for the buck at this moment in time, for for the adoption that we already have got so quickly, is a great thing. Like, more than it may seem at first glance as just Telegram, to answer some few questions. It might be very good. Like,
Yeah, it's made a lot more possible by this thing called clips in YouTube, where you can actually just select an area like a timestamp, and it will create a separate video, and it sort of hosts it separately, but when you watch that video, you can click through from that video to the original video. So it's a good way to share like a snippet with somebody, but then refer them to the broader kind of conversation. And then if they're interested, they can watch more of that video. So it's quite easy to do. You don't need to kind of have editing software or be downloading YouTube videos and clipping them and editing them. It's just a feature within YouTube. So Jack has set up a separate channel today, a Zen Crypto channel, where all these clips are going to be hosted. So we can basically start just finding the timestamps and clipping out the responses and setting them up as.
Where's the data? This is through the YouTube interface that the timestamps, you just click, and then it kind of does its own thing so that you can access them. You don't have to download them, or how does that work?
Yeah. So we would do it through an official channel, so they're all on one Zen Crypto channel. But I'm just saying the process to do it is it's through YouTube. You, in the bottom right, there's a thing called clips, and you click on that, and you click it sort of at the point in the video, and then it just brings up like a selection tool to select the length of the clip you want, and then you just go clip, and then it says title, description, and then it makes a new like YouTube video URL, but it's a sort of specific type of YouTube video where it actually can click through to the original video quite easily. And you don't need to sort of download things and edit them. It's not that much effort to do it. It's like just a few clicks. The hard part is really just finding the exact timestamp with the best answer to these questions, but they're answered in many different ways. So we can create multiple answers to the same question. And then the bot can kind of give randomized answers basically. So there's a diversity of content in the Telegram chat. So it's not just, and it doesn't have to answer like every single time that keyword's triggered. It can just be some of the time.
Yeah, I got
you got to kind of find a balance. Like you don't want to sort of be spamming the chat too much. It's already doing this with a few things, like the word mobile will trigger the known issues for mobile. And I've seen it many times where someone will say, you guys need to get your mobile interface fixed. And then the bot will say, hey, there's the suggestions for mobile. And often it solves their problem and nobody's had to actually respond to them. And it's quite a lot of options that they can look at. We started doing it, sending people to the FAQ, like the Zenpedia for different things. But I think the videos are probably more effective just because people don't want to read too much.
Yeah, no, I'm listening to this. You know, it's like myself personally, my experience is that I could probably there's so many things that I could do, right? So I'm equipped. I mean, if I had to make videos or if I had to code something, had to make NFTs, whatever. I've done so many different things, and but the thing is that you can't do everything, and you have to choose what you focus on. And so far in this project, it's just been focusing on being present, talking with people, and all that stuff. Um, Possibly, you know, I'll choose something to focus more and set myself up. But all that experience has taught me is that, you know, when you're doing something, it's like there's so many things to do, and there's things that are like give you more bang for the buck, and think how you can facilitate be the workflow, or how to streamline things and get the most done with the least effort and all that, and try to prioritize all those things in the right order, and not waste time. um and as I'm listening to you, it's like in the whole of this is like really a lot of bang for the buck, so to speak. It, people could do that because the software is not, you don't need to have an editor set up. You can just go into YouTube clips. You know, we could all help with that. uh, the admins like Yakov could see something and notice something if you want to, and he could just like clip something, and then we can adjust as we go and just fine tune. It's like the bots, like you're working with the bots, right? The Telegram bots, like that's something like it takes work and you're focused on that. So it's like we can't do everything. So that's great. And then you know that you're on that part right now, so you could help with the whatever triggers or fine tuning of that, and other people could be like finding the timestamps. But the point of it is just to say that this thing has, like, we have the capacities, we have the tools, YouTube supplies the tools, and we have a whole bunch of potential 100,000 users that would really need it would help them right now as they're onboarding. I think it's a great idea, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So if what would help is to sort of write what the question or objection or concern is, and then to locate the timestamp and share that as a like the way you can share a YouTube video at the timestamp. And then I can just go to that timestamp and clip it and use the description and the question to just fill out the details. It needs a title for the video and it needs a description. And these things will come up in YouTube as search results too. So it helps people who are searching on YouTube for these questions will also find them, find these answers.
Is there a like
And
is there something like a hashtag mechanism kind of thing, or is that what you're describing? Just a title and it'll.
yeah, just a title and a description. It's like a short title and a short description that just well, it's just required for the clips, so we'll need to put those in. But they'll help people who search YouTube for these questions as well.
And what
And
about your bot? What about the
so,
Telegram bot? Does it need a hashtag, or will it grab onto the title and that's sufficient?
no, I need to I'd need to specify like the keywords that would trigger the response. And it can be set up in different ways. Like it can be set as a trigger where you just put like bots or something as a trigger, and then people type that one word and they reply to somebody who's asked that question, and you can force that video to be displayed. But another way it can be displayed is just kind of dynamically on the fly. It will see the word bot in a message and then it will respond with one of the videos some of the time, if that's the way it's set up.
Okay. I think we can. I mean, we don't have to do all the clips in advance. Could we open the
Yeah, we
chats?
can just start doing it as like it's
Start
just
doing it.
progressively. You just
Exactly.
start adding them, and then in a month from now we have like 100 clips or something. But to start with, just adding them as we go, and as topics and videos are created that address them come up, they can be added.
Sounds great. I'm gonna get to looking, quite quickly here on the YouTube. So just to understand, for the making of the clips, it's what it's you said it says clips. It's on the main YouTube, or do you have to go in
Yeah.
the main?
So you wouldn't need to do the clip yourself, but if you just share the video with the timestamp, so you click on share and then you share it at the exact point where the clip would start, and then if I then get that shared link with the timestamp with the number of seconds in the URL, then I can just click on that, locate the point, and clip it. And then if you provide like a description and a title or whatever that clip is about, then it's quick for me to just fill out the form, create the clip, and then
Do I have to
add it to the
isolate?
bot.
Do I have to isolate the end timestamp and put that in the description, or is there a mechanism to
Yeah,
like
it might. No,
slice
there's
it?
not a mechanism to isolate the end timestamp, but it might help to say where it is. So there's one sort of drawback with these clips is that they have a limited. They don't like. I don't know what the time is, but it's limited. It might be 2 minutes or something, and a lot of
Okay,
answers can't be done
no, that's fine.
in
Come
2
on, that's
minutes.
fine. Yeah.
But I guess people can. The good thing is people can kind of continue to watch the rest of the video or the entire video, and it will kind of encourage people to go and watch the videos because everything is sort of covered there, like in great detail, in the best way possible without any speculation or hype. And it's all like Jack is really the best person at describing a lot of this stuff.
This is great. This is genius. Like, you know, how long has this aspect of sharing clips been going on YouTube? Do you know?
I'm
Is
not
this like
sure. I think I saw it like a year ago at least, but
a year? Okay. So I just have not seen, as I said, telegrams making use of it, or in help at all or anything. So
yeah,
it's just
I've
a
been
great use of it.
working on Telegram bots as like a solution for crypto communities since like 2018, like pretty much full time. And they're like, it's like the most scalable way to deal with things. Like you can have an unlimited number of admins, but um, it doesn't matter how many people or how many scammers or spammers are hitting the chat, the bots are able to handle it if they're built the right way with the right program the right way, basically, to respond. So if Zen gets a massive influx of new users, which I'm expecting we will, I think what we've seen so far is just the tip of the iceberg. We need to be preparing for like just a huge influx. And this is one way to scale that.
Exactly. That's the thing, scaling. And now we're caught. Well, I mean, I think Jack as well, it's all beyond what he was expecting. So, any of us who really want to help this, we just need to, I'm thinking, just do and adjust the most we can. Obviously, some things we can't do that, but wherever we can, that we just go ahead and adjust. And I think that'll be the most efficient ultimately. We'll figure it out. We'll wing it here. And you seem to have figured like just about everything. So I would just say, like, go ahead, throw it there. I'll hop in. I've been doing it on the francophone. I went in yesterday on the Spanish. He was doing it with his computer. I mean, we definitely should have a help. So I'll figure out. I'll look at the YouTube thing. I'll see what you set up. Uh, and if I have any questions, I'll just ask you. And this should be running within, hours, days, like nicely.
Yeah, we can have this running like immediately. And the help group can be set up like within hours as well. I can get that set up, and we can start directing people there, and just start enhancing the general sort of rules and the like it will need a pin message and some regular messaging about what can and can happen there, and it's particularly about not DMing people at all.
So,
And that
yeah,
really
yeah.
anyone who goes there and invites people to DM people, if they don't stop doing that, they'll need to be banned from that group, because we can't determine who's a scammer and who's not. And for everyone's safety, it's just not really safe really to DM people anyway. Like even if you're an admin, the thing is that people will you help them, then they do something wrong, and then they will like delete the chat, and then they'll blame you and say that the admin told me to like do this or that. I lost all my money. It's their fault. I'm now really pissed off. So if you if it's all happening in public, you're protected from them making some false claim about what advice you gave.
Right. Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's just that was that aspect. I don't think about those things so much, but how do you think that relates to if we wanted to do what I was saying, that because sometimes it's a pain, right? Like to answer someone's questions, and it's so much easier to just talk to them. So if the idea,
Yeah, we just need to record the voice chat like we do for this chat for the same
oh,
reason.
right, got
Um,
you. There you
and
go.
then
Okay.
there's an archive of what was said if somebody wants to make some false accusation. You can just refer back to it and say no, and there'll always be probably other people listening as well. So if somebody's giving
Well,
advice
that,
that's just wrong or
yeah,
unsafe,
exactly.
people can step in and say, no, that's not good advice. Don't listen to that.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was imagining. Maybe there'd be like 2, 3 people, 4 people at a time. But yeah, the recording solves that. And then could we do with the recordings? Like, could we do we just do the same thing as with the chat and we shoot it all into? Could we make another channel just to put those there, for example, just to help keep things clean? And I mean, you can't
Yeah.
take all clutter at some point. You must
Yeah, no,
that's
they
why.
need to be kind of backed up offline and just kept as an archive in case something comes up in the future.
Right, right. And on Telegram, can we do that, or it's always saved messages and that's the only folder, or we could just make our own folder for that?
We could create a group to store it all in and then back it, archive it from there. It's a bit of a loophole in Telegram actually as a data storage area because they don't really put limits on it. But I think it's best not to rely on Telegram for storing gigabytes of recordings.
Yeah, yeah, they can always decide to clean up or something. So, okay, but that's cool that we can make a group for it. And whenever that happens, do you have a one-on-one where you're trying to help for a more specific question? We can just throw them there and boom, boom, boom in order. And then you can do whatever, like archive wherever.
Yeah. Okay, well, I might hop off the voice chat and just go and start to set that up and
Perfect. Just
get that underway.
send me the link as soon as it's set up. I'll look at it and
Yeah,
I'll
will
go
do.
check. Where is the YouTube again? Is it the clips thing? Is that in the menu, or is that I'm supposed to see that visibly? Like
It's well on a desktop. I think it's in the bottom right. There's a few little menu items in the bottom right.
okay,
One sort of within the frame of the YouTube video, and then there's some below it. I'm not sure where exactly it is, but it's one of those drop downs in the bottom right.
okay, perfect. I'll find it. Okay, talk to you later.
Okay, cool.
Thanks.
So yeah, Jakob, are you there? Yeah. So yeah, well, obviously, you probably heard what we said there.
I did.
Yeah, so do keep it in mind if you come across. I mean, obviously, it's not about listening to all the information, but if you see some things and you know it's very specific and useful, like maybe just take it, do that, the clip, and then we
Yep,
can
I'll start saving YouTube clips.
like yeah, like sometimes it's really good information. It's cool. It doesn't need to be like any single one library. Here it seems to be anything on YouTube. So there's many things that have been said by many people, even streams or something, someone explaining, but it's like really specific with MetaMask and it really resolves an issue. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. And there's like a lot of YouTube channels like I can't remember them off the top of my head, but like they explain like basic stuff like how to go into the
Exactly.
advanced gas features and things like that too.
Totally. I mean, there's so many good streamers and producers on YouTube that have taken the time to just put it on screen and they show you, they walk you through it. And if they're just MetaMask related, and that's the question, that's perfect. EP is great here for all the little loopholes and seeing okay, but this and that. So that's awesome.
AdSense, I'd say.
Val Delay, I think you're sharing your video.
Sorry, that's a mistake. I'm going out.
No problem.
Thank you.
Nah, I think you're still sharing your camera.
Okay, I will stop now.
There you go.